It has been an overcast day, and the winds are really gusting here at North Carolina Motor Speedway. Showers in the area. They seem to be moving away, but it will be a windy day here for racing. Hello, everyone. I'm Gary Pudge. Although this is the third stop for the Busch National Series cars, they have been to Daytona, they have been to Richmond. It'll be the first race of the year for many of the competitors. Well, sort of the first race. A lot of them, as you saw in the open, only got to run 14 laps on the Speedway at Daytona. They have been burning the midnight oil, many of the Busch Series regulars who only have a couple of people to work on the cars, and they only have one or two race cars. They have been working night and day to get their Speedway cars rebuilt to come here to Rockingham to run. And Ned Jarrett with me. It's been an unusual beginning for the Busch Series Tour. 2 races and 2 Winston Cup regulars have won it.
Well, you would think that it would be a Winston Cup race the way it has come out so far. Dale Earnhardt, for the first time ever, leading the point standings in both the Grand National and Winston Cup Series after 2 events in each of the series. But there's been one man that has been very impressive, and that's Bobby Labonte, who is in second place in the point standings. He had a 6th place finish in the Goodies 300 at Daytona, finished 3rd last week at Richmond. This young man is going to be reckoned with before this year's over, but he's starting way back in the field today, so he certainly has his work cut out for him.
Bobby Labonte, a talented young driver, definitely will keep an eye on him. Well, we saw a Chevrolet win at Daytona. That's for Dale Earnhardt. We saw a Pontiac winning last week at Richmond for Michael Waltrip. There's a Buick on the pole today for Harry Gant. But have you seen a competitive Ford lately? Let's find out as we go down to our pit reporter, Benny Parsons.
Jerry, I found one that was competitive last year. Mark Martin's Ford Thunderbird, the Carolina Ford dealer's Ford. He won a race last year at Bristol, Tennessee at night in August and had about 5 second-place finishes. The car was super competitive. But remember, folks, if you watched us last year on ESPN, you remember this car was hurting down the straightaway. Just did not have enough power down the straightaway. They've tried to do something about this winter. Ford came with some new cylinder heads, about 25 more horsepower. Unfortunately, they did not get them to Daytona in time for these cars to run during the Goodies 300 in Daytona. They used them last week in Richmond, but this car hit a barrel full of sand and eliminated itself out of the race. The V6, we don't know if the Fords are going to be competitive, because what's 25 horsepower going to do to the bottom end, to the connecting rod, the crankshafts, the pistons, things like that? That's an unknown. Plus, with 25 more horsepower, Bill Davis told me he's got to find out a great deal more about his chassis, because they've completely changed their chassis with the extra horsepower. Jerry, we might have a competitive Ford.
Wait momentarily. Let's take a look at the Sears Die Hard starting grid. On the front row, the veteran 50-year-old Harry Gant, along with the youngster Michael Waltrip, fresh from the win a week ago. Row 2, Kyle Petty driving a car that should be very competitive today, and veteran Busch Series driver Brad T. Row 3, there's the Ford of Mark Martin you saw Benny Parsons talking about earlier, and Ernie Irvan with a very competitive Busch Series car had a great run at Daytona. Back to row 4, the 2-time series champion of the old late model Sportsman Series, L.D. Ottinger, and a 2-time most popular driver, Jimmy Hensley. Rick Mass coming off a couple of Winston Cup runs last year. Outstanding run for him. He's back in a Busch car, as is Dale Jarrett, now back full-time with Busch Series Racing. Dale Earnhardt, the man who was so tough at Daytona, starts back inside row 6, and alongside him, Kenny Schrader, another Winston Cup regular. Patty Moise could become the first woman to run the full Busch Tour this year. She starts inside row 7, and a young driver running for Rookie of the Year, Ron LaBelle Jr., is outside. Row 8, Chuck Bound, former Winston West Series champion, and a guy who moved down from the modified ranks, Dave Resendez. Back to row 9, young driver, a very talented young man, Jeff Burton, is driving for Sam Ard in the car number 12, and the 1988 Series champion, Tommy Ellis. Back in row 10, young Clifford Allison, the youngest of Bobby Allison's sons. Clifford, of course, the younger brother of Davey, will be inside row 10, and Ed Barrier, a veteran driver for Busch Series, will start in 20th spot. Let's take a look at the rest of the field. Back in 11th spot, Kenny Wallace. 11th row, Kenny Wallace and Bobby Labonte. Back in row 12, Ben Hess and Bobby Hamilton. Scheduled for row 13, the 5-time national champion, Jack Ingram, along with rookie contender Dana Patton. Row 14, another Ford for Ronald Cooper and Bobby Donner. 15th row, Kirk Bryant and Tom Peck. Tom Peck, an outstanding qualifying effort at Daytona for this young McConnellsburg, Pennsylvania driver. He'll be the guy to watch early on. And back in row 16, Randy Baker and Ward Burton. Finishing out the field, row 17, Tommy Houston, veteran driver, and Robert Presley, who's a guy to watch early on this year, picked up his first win last year in the rookie season. Davey Johnson, another rookie competitor, back in the 18th row, and the only other Ford in the field, 3 Fords total, that's Randy LaJoie in the car number 71. Row 19, Steve Grissom in the car number 31, and Randy McDonald. While row 20 sees Elton Sawyer driving the car number 27, and two-time Busch Grand National North Series champion Jamie Albee. Finishing out the field, young rookie driver Jeff Spraker in the...
Guys, it might be a situation about, who can go the slowest at this first, because you talk about Harry Gant being the rabbit. It's going to be very difficult to go out on this racetrack the way it is. These guys, Harry Gant, those old-timers, just not going to go charging too early.
Mark will go there.
Mark will?
Yeah. I don't know.
This track looks pretty smooth. Maybe it'll be all right.
Back at North Carolina Motor Speedway, the Pontiac safety car has picked up the pace a little bit, trying to get the field to come possibly about 75 to 80 miles per hour, trying to get a little bit of heat into the racetrack. As you see, the crew's getting ready there, checking those air ridges on pit road. Remember now, in the pits here, as Ned mentioned earlier, for the pit stops, you're allowed only 2 tires to be changed. You use 1 jack only, 5 men across the wall, plus 1 catch can man. As the crew is now getting themselves limbered up on pit road, and the field now trying to get the track dry. So a little bit of moisture down on the very bottom of the racetrack. That is not in the racing group whatsoever, Ned.
But as they entered the first turn, there was a little bit of dampness in the racing groove, and boy, that's where you really need the traction. So they want to be sure that, at least in the racing groove, that there is no dampness, because these slick tires will not adhere to wet pavement.
Taking a look at the Unical gas cans. Remember, with the V6 motors here and the 390 carburetors, they get excellent gas mileage. In fact, for a 197-lap race, you saw earlier on our graphic, these guys can go probably 110 to maybe even 130 miles on a tank of fuel.
Well, especially if you're Harry Gant. He has gone as much as 125, 130 miles. He gets extremely good gas mileage on his car, and wouldn't surprise us if the situation warrants it today to see him going that far.
Looks like a Hollywood dressing room down there. Everyone getting prepared to do their special servicing event. There are specialists on every team. There's a tire specialist, a gas man, a guy who's the chassis expert, the crew chiefs, the tire changers. They all have their own paraphernalia to get prepared for. And they're all getting dressed and getting cinched up, ready to begin here at the Goodwrench 200. When they come by this time, it'll be 3 laps to green. The drivers now are being shown each time by. They'll show a showing of fingers from the flagman Bobby Scruggs, who held up 5 fingers a moment ago, showing 5 laps. This time he holds up 3 fingers as they come by. There is Bobby Scruggs and Pete Babb on the flag stand, showing 3 fingers. He's asking the drivers, is it okay? Pointing to his hand. And they are giving him the affirmative nod. And some of them have a problem, they can radio to their crew chiefs on pit road, Ned, and they have a NASCAR official standing by with some of the key crew chiefs that went down the pit to see if there is an objection to going green here, which will now be 2 laps away.
Yes, I'm sure the drivers are conversing with their crew chiefs by two-way radio and telling them what the conditions are out there. As we look at Kyle Petty sitting there very relaxed in the Ames Department Store race cam. Looking at Kyle.
Probably going to see a lot of Kyle this weekend. He is on the pole for tomorrow's Goodwrench 500. Of course, his first ever Busch pole in 277 starts. An outstanding run for him tomorrow.
And a chance to win $228,000 in Unical bonus that's posted for a driver who can win the pole and win the race. And it was a year ago here at the North Carolina Motor Speedway that Rusty Wallace did that. He only got $15,200 because there was only 2 races into the season. $7,600 added to it every time it goes without someone winning it, and it now totals $228,000.
And we'll be live with that Goodwrench 500 tomorrow at 12 noon here on ESPN as Kyle Petty and Mark Martin, the young man who had such a tough week after his win and then disqualification later on at Richmond, as they are trying to get the track shuffled dry here. They are running a few extra laps here. The cars now running, separating. See the cars in the upper groove and the lower groove now trying to get some heat into the bottom of the racetrack.
Yes, they are, and you can see, Jerry, that there are still some damp spots, even just right down below the flagman. You can see some damp spots on the racetrack. We saw on the backstretch there were still some damp spots, so they've re-upped the laps now a few more to give them a few more laps. And the heat from these engines coming out from the exhaust pipe is the quickest way to dry a racetrack. But you can see those black spots, and that is dampness on the racetrack.
Now, of course, these laps are not counting. Many of you fans who realize that we do not start counting laps until the green flag is fallen. We are just getting the cars warmed up. But what they are counting toward is fuel mileage. And some of the crews had calculated their fuel mileage early on, and now they're having to count these laps as far as their fuel calculations are concerned.
And, of course, there's a fellow that's calculating that right now. One of his computers. This race has come a long way, Jerry, since I was driving race cars. When you started announcing at the Hickory Speedway on the public address system, we didn't know what a computer was.
I'd say that's a few years back, man. We're dating ourselves a little bit, man, but they are definitely trying to keep some heat into the racetrack here. It is an overcast day, but an outstanding crowd on hand here at the North Carolina Motor Speedway. The largest crowd, as you take a look at the front straightaway, they're the largest crowd in the history. That's actually the backstretch of this event. Saturday show here, the Goodwrench 200. The fans locally realize that these Busch Grand National drivers and cars put on one whale of a show here at this racetrack. It's a 1-mile track. It's great for viewing. It's a great location, easy to get to from Charlotte or from Raleigh, from the areas here of North Carolina. And the folks come here and enjoy a weekend of racing. 200 miles today, 197 laps, and 500 miles tomorrow.
Always a great race. We saw the flag sort of waving in the wind, and I looked down on pit road there a moment ago, and I saw a couple of the pit umbrellas just topple over. One of them blew over into the garage area. Benny Parsons, how much of an effect will the wind have on them out here today?
At this racetrack, I don't really think the wind's going to be that effective because it's about 15, 20 miles an hour right now, which is a considerable gust, but only a 1-mile racetrack, which is a great deal like a short track. We keep talking about the drying off the racetrack. Folks, as long as you see those dark spots in the racetrack, it's really not safe for these cars to run top speed. That's why they want to be sure they get the racetrack as dry as possible.
Well, Benny, don't hold on to one of those umbrellas, or else we'll have Mary Poppins Parsons down on pit road as the wind is gusting down there. But if you do get injured, Benny, we just saw the helicopter landing a moment ago. That's the trauma helicopter from Air Care Team from North Carolina Baptist Hospital. The signal from Bobby Scruggs. 1 lap will be under green next time by. Pontiac safety car now having the field close up behind the front row of Harry Gedd and Michael Waltrip. Crews now. Final preparations being completed on pit road. They are waiting for green, as are we here at ESPN. Harry Gedd hoping to pick up where he left off last October, getting back to victory lane here. 197 laps on a 1.017 mile North Carolina Motor Speedway. The lights have been extinguished on the safety car. When they turn the lights out, the indicates 1 to go to green. Tension building there. They're rubbing their hands, trying to get warm, waiting for the green flag. Crews now looking to their right, which will be up toward the turn 4 area, as the field now slowly entering the 25-degree bankings of turn 3.
That was Mr. John Key, one of the officials of the Nestle company that's relatively new as a sponsor in Busch Grand National Racing. Of course, the sponsor Dale Jarrett's got.
Pontiac safety car is pulled away in the field. The fans are on their feet. The field now getting ready to come up to full song. They head for the start-finish line. Green flag now being waited for the first flag of the Goodwrench 200. Green flag, and Harry Gedd to take the advantage and pull away toward turn 1. Here at Rockingham, if you get caught on the outside groove, now Hamilton trying to tuck back inside the cars of Kenny Wallace and Ben Hess. Wallace, the car number 36, Hess is the car number 9. Let's take a look at what happened, Ed.
Okay, he was way up on the outside, 3 abreast, going into turn 3, and you can see the back end gets loose from him. He does a masterful job of bringing that car back under control and not spinning out.
Bobby Hamilton, a 3-time track champion at the Nashville Fairgrounds Raceway, who won last year his first ever event after the Richmond International Raceway, having trouble here early on at Rockingham. He gets the car dialed back in, and will be able to run the early laps.
Won his first ever Busch Grand National race last September at Richmond, Virginia.
He's a young man that qualified a Western Cup car 5th at Phoenix last year on one of our ESPN telecasts. But the man they're chasing right now, Curry and Harry Gedd, the car number 7, the unbeatable Buick.
big pack of cars. That's Rick Mast in car number 22, Ken Schrader down on the inside, car number 52, Brad Teague in the black number 75 up caught on the outside. Here comes Earnhardt on the inside, and Jimmy Hensley.
Jimmy Hensley there. Brad Teague is now backsliding in the field. His car actually started in fourth spot. He is now being shown back outside the top 5. His car continuing to slow as they go by Brad Teague on the bottom of the racetrack.
He dropped back to about 11th place. Now Jimmy Hensley moving by on the inside.
Kenny Schrader being shown there in the car number 52. Now he drives, of course, the 25 car, just the reverse of that numbers in the Winston Cup ranks, as Earnhardt now makes the move inside of Rick Mast. Mast car sliding up a little bit in turn 3.
You know, we heard Chuck Bowen say that he had changed all 4 springs, a couple of shocks, and different things on his car. There were a number of them made a lot of changes on their car. Jerry was down in the garage area yesterday afternoon. Here's a race for second place, but Kyle Petty can't quite make the move on Michael Waltrip. But a lot of drivers were having trouble getting their cars dialed in, so they were doing a lot of changing. But it was working for some of them. We'll take a look from Kyle Petty inside of his car as he chases Michael Waltrip.
Taking a look inside Kyle Petty from turn 2. Now he makes a move inside of the Kool-Aid Pontiac of Michael Waltrip. Now moves alongside him down the back straightaway. And we'll see if he can hold the line. Looks like he has gotten inside of Waltrip and will take the second spot. Waltrip unwilling to relinquish that spot, but Kyle is back in third there, big guy. I'm taking second, and they're going to set his sights now on here again.
Buick out front, 2 Pontiacs running second and third. And in fourth place is the Ford of Mark Martin. Dale Jarrett has moved from 10th up to 5th in the Nestle's Pontiac, so he's on the move.
Top 4 cars right there early on. A lot of people knew that Mark Martin would be awfully strong. You heard Harry Gant say, Joe Vinnie Martin earlier, that knew Mark Martin would be one of the cars to contend with. Mark can take the line back there in 4th spot right now. As Kyle Petty now from the inside the Ames Department Store race cam closing in on Harry Gant.
Kyle had a very strong car at Richmond last week. He led a good portion of the 200-lap race there on that 3/4-mile racetrack. And as you said earlier, he had a little problem with the carburation on it. And just waiting for another chance to run the car.
Just coming into the picture there is Dale Jarrett's Nestle's Crunch Pontiac. Now this young driver currently being shown up in the points here in Busch Series points. He is third overall in the points, just 17 points out of the lead, Jared. As Kyle Petty now makes a move inside here again. Here, we'll just let him go. Looks like early on. They don't want to use the tires up. You heard Benny Parsons talking about the concern about tire wear.
Yeah, I don't think that Harry wants to abuse the car or the tires at this point in the race. Of course, Kyle's running awfully fast, and maybe Harry couldn't do much about it.
Take a look as Kyle Petty makes his move inside of here again. Harry's car drifting up, and Kyle showing a lot of strength in that Mike Fryer engine. That Fryer builds engines for Kyle Petty and also builds them for Michael Waltrip, 2 of the front-running cars here. He just muscles right into the inside of here again and takes the lead.
Here's a good race. Rick Mast up on the outside in car number 22, and the 79 car.
Dave Resendez and the car number 98, the young driver Randy Lamel Jr. from Essex Junction, Vermont.
And they're racing for 12th, 13th, and 14th position.
Battle back behind them is 1988 Series champion Tommy Ellis. Young Ellis showing an outstanding effort here in Rockingham. And the car number 12, that is Jeff Burton, young driver, 22 years of age, from Virginia, driving the Sam Hart car.
A rookie in this division, doing a great job. Look at him move on the inside of the veteran Rick Mast and move right around as Mast goes high. There's some sheet metal damage to the right side of Mast's car, so he's already tangled with someone, but a big pack of cars running there. Here comes Tommy Ellis trying to move up on Rick Mast. Ellis found something wrong yesterday. He was not pleased at all with his qualifying, but they did check the distributor and found that something was wrong in there. They changed it and hopefully they should pick him up.
Lamel Jr., the car number 98, now getting a bid inside from Dave Resendez. These guys have raced before. Resendez is one of the former New England modified competitors. He now makes a move inside. Dave Resendez got a new crew chief this year on that car. Darrell Bryan, formerly a Winston Cup crew chief, now helping Resendez, and making a move inside is Jeff Burton. Now the ill-handling car of Rick Mast, that's the white blue numeral car number 22 of Mast on the outside. And the young 22-year-old driver, Jeff Burton, trying to make his move inside. Now, Burton, that car he is driving is owned by Sam Ard, a former two-time Busch Series champion, and Ard has won here in the past at the North Carolina Motor Speedway in Busch competition.
He certainly knows how to set a race car up for this racetrack. As we see, Tommy Ellis has moved around the male car, number 98. So Ellis is on the move towards the front.
I'll show you back up what the leaders, Kyle Petty now pulling away to about a 7-car separation between himself and Harry Gant. Kyle Petty's car, we might mention, his crew chief is Jerry Kennan. Now, that name's familiar to a lot of people who are familiar with Busch Series racing. Jerry Kennan was the crew chief for Sam Ard for many years when Ard became a two-time series champion.
Well, those two cars have a pretty good lead over Michael Waltrip, who is running third. And not too far behind Michael Waltrip is Mark Martin, and Dale Jarrett has now caught Mark Martin, so it'll be a battle for fourth here very shortly.
16 laps here in the Goodwrench 200 as Kyle Petty now showing his way. Here is Patty Moise making an unscheduled stop on the pit road, and apparently they will go to work on the right side of her car. Mike Laughlin, who owns that car, and the crew now going to work on her Buick, and they will change right side tires, possibly a tire going down. Patty Moise having troubles early here at Rockingham. We're in the early laps here on the Goodwrench 200. Kyle Petty showing the way. Stay tuned. We'll be back.
Dale is flying. He's missed all of his passes that he's making.
Here in heavy traffic at the North Carolina Motor Speedway still continues to be Kyle Petty as he is being chased by the car number 7 of Harry Gant. But it has changed from there back. As you look inside of the Kyle Petty's car running in behind Randy McDonald in another lap traffic, Kyle trying to be very careful. You must tiptoe very gingerly through the traffic here, much like you would at a track like Darlington, a single groove racetrack. Now there is Kyle Petty leading Harry Gant. Going down the Randy McDonald car number 16. Now moving up in the third spot, a great run in a car that's really making a move toward the front. That is Dale Jarrett in the car number 32. That's the Nestle's Crunch Pontiac.
Dale started back in 10th place, Jerry, and really has worked the traffic well. His car, you see him come into the picture now as they come up on that big pack of traffic back there. He was about 3 seconds behind the leader. He's cut it down to about 10 seconds now. So his car, he made a bunch of changes on his race car too, sort of like Chuck Ballin did, but it seems to be working for him.
Earlier, we may be wondering what happened to Michael Waltrip. While we were in break, Michael Waltrip's car was slipping and sliding up through turns 3 and 4. He did a masterful job to keep the car from tagging the retaining wall. And Dale Jarrett, the car number 32 right there, was able to make the move inside of Michael Waltrip and take the third spot away. We might mention that Dale Jarrett's run a week ago in Richmond was very similar to this, Ned. He started back in 21st spot and came all the way up to finish 4th there at Richmond behind Michael Waltrip, Dale Earnhardt, and the youngster Bobby Labonte. Taking a look back, there's the car number 1 of Martin Martin. That car being shown back in the 4th spot. That's the Bill Davis-owned car, the Carolina Ford dealer's machine. Let's check in down in the Michael Waltrip pit with Benny Parsons. Benny?
On Michael's car. Bill, what's the biggest problem?
Mike's real loose right now. The car's just loose. So loose he can't hardly hold on, he says.
Can you change it on the pit stop?
Yes, yes. We're going to make a chassis adjustment.
Okay, Bill.
That is Billy Engel, who is the crew chief for Michael Waltrip's Winston Cup effort. Billy Engel there talking about how loose Michael's car is. And Ned, normally it would go the other way, wouldn't it? If it rains and flushes the rubber away, wouldn't the car seem to get tight?
Normally, you would expect the car to be tight, but it could be that they made an adjustment expecting that to happen and maybe went a little overboard on it and got the car too loose, because it's obvious that the car was loose the way we saw him slip and sliding on the track. And boy, Kyle Petty's had some heavy traffic.
Kyle Petty trying to tiptoe past the Jeff Spraker car, and he's pulling up behind the car of Steve Grissom. That's the car number 31 in front of him. It says Big Mama on the rear of the car. That's the meat snack that sponsors the Steve Grissom car. Grissom, an excellent young driver who's making his way, making a name in the Busch Series ranks. Kyle just flipping them off one by one, which makes it look pretty easy, man.
Yes, it does. The car's handling well for him. Of course, Gant is keeping him in sight, not too far behind in the green number 7. Now Kyle clears the Steve Grissom car, so he has a little room between them.
Here's L.D. Ottinger, a couple of veteran drivers back in the pack. L.D. back there racing with his car number 75. That is Brad Teague.
Currently running in 9th and 10th position. L.D. running 9th in the car number 2. Brad Teague running in 10th position. Now Brad started up in the top 5 here this afternoon, but he has dropped back.
You got to wonder possibly if Brad Teague's crew didn't do exactly what maybe Michael Waltrip's crew did, and they may have gone overboard in a chassis adjustment. It's purely a guessing game here with the weather. They think it's going to be overcast, and now Brad Teague moving inside of Ottinger to take that 9th spot away. These two drivers now running door to door. They raced many, many years on the short tracks around North and South Carolina, Eastern Tennessee, as Brad Teague now makes the move inside of Ottinger and takes away the 9th spot. How about it, Benny Parsons? Brad Teague's having his trouble.
He is having his trouble, Jerry, but I went down and talked to Tony Glover, who called the shot for Brad Teague today. I said, what's the problem? Because you started 4th, you drifted back. He said, we'll be okay. We're just taking it easy. You remember, as you said, Brad Teague crashed the car in Daytona earlier. He's not taking any chances today.
It was indeed Brad Teague who spun his car at Daytona on that lap 14 that triggered that 23-car pileup, and Brad felt just terrible about it. A lot of these drivers, most of the drivers are his good friends and have been for many years, and it was fortunate that no one was injured. The cars were built such that the drivers were able to escape any serious injury.
Back up front, Kyle Petty still running with a comfortable lead, with about 10 car lengths is comfortable over Harry Gant.
Again, now just trying to bide his time. He would like to be able to keep the tires underneath that car. But again, is getting reeled in now to widen out, and we'll show you the 3rd place car of Dale Jarrett. We talked about Dale's great run at Richmond Raceway. How about what happened at Daytona? Dale was running up front with Earnhardt and Gant, and with 3 laps to go, he ran out of fuel at Daytona. Now, I talked to John Irvin, the crew chief, on this car of Dale Jarrett, and I said, you're going to be pretty disappointed. He said, yeah, Jerry, but it was one of the races at Daytona that made me even more sad. Back in 1963, I was a crew chief for another Jarrett. His name, of course, Ned Jarrett, and we ran out of gas with 2 laps to go to Daytona 500. Ned, you got to remember that one.
Boy, I do, Jerry, and it was certainly one of the biggest disappointments of my career to get that close to victory at Daytona and the Daytona 500 and then run out of gas. Of course, Tiny Lund went on to win that race in the Wood Brothers car back in 1963.
Well, the sun is popping out here at North Carolina Motor Speedway. The reflections down the cars are turning into a beautiful afternoon for racing here in the Sand Hills, and Kyle Petty is just pulling away, saying, see ya. Heavy traffic now back in the pack with Kyle now making a move is Ronald Cooper, the young driver from Statham, Georgia, who has the Ford team this year, and Cooper looking to have a good run this year. He has engines being built by Ernie Elliott, the V6 program that Ernie has been working with, and he will be fielding engines for young Ronald Cooper this year. There is Harry Gant currently running in 2nd spot. Harry now getting his car up in the middle groove, trying to save those tires, but he is now being reeled in by Dale Jarrett. Jarrett now running by the Tom Peck machine. Jarrett in the car number 32, Gant in the car number 7.
Jerry, there are 25 cars in the lead lap. We watched this for race 4, second place as Jarrett comes up on Gant. Of course, Kyle Petty leading, Gant running second, Jarrett third, Mark Martin is fourth, Michael Waltrip is fifth, Dale Earnhardt is sixth, Ernie Irvin is running seventh, Kenny Schrader is eighth, Brad Teague ninth, L.D. Ottinger 10th, and Jimmy Hensley is running 11th. Dave Resendez in 12th place. Tommy Ellis now has moved up to 13th, and Bobby Hamilton 14th.
They've got to be all smiles in the Dale Jarrett pits. How about it, Benny Parsons? What are they saying?
Well, Jerry, I'm down with the guy that you were talking about a moment ago, John Irving. John, what's Dale saying? Is it perfect?
Well, Benny, the Nestle front car is running real good right now. Dale hasn't said anything, so that's good news right now. He's running as quick as Kyle is, so everything's looking real good.
He would be telling you if you were going to have to make a change on your pit stop. He'd be telling you by now, wouldn't he?
Yeah, he would tell me now what anything's wrong with the car, so evidently everything's pretty good.
Okay, John. Good luck.
That's John Irvin, 51 years of age, a veteran crew chief, and we mentioned that you might identify him a little bit to the fans. He was a crew chief for many, many years for Ed Jarrett. We'll watch this replay here as Kyle Petty is now trying to slip inside of Clifford Allison. That's the car number 34, and Clifford's car getting a little bit loose in the corner. Kyle gave him some room and was able to get around with some tight, close moment there for Kyle Petty. Now Kyle moving in on the car number 11 of Jack Ingram. We mentioned John Irvin was a crew chief for many, many years with Ed Jarrett, and then when he retired, and opened up a service station. It wasn't until a couple of years ago when Dale decided he wanted to go racing. He said, hey, I'm going to come out of retirement and go back at it.
That's right. He's been very loyal to the Jarrett family. He stayed out of racing for a number of years, but then, of course, came back when Dale decided to start racing. Here, Dale decided to try to take over second place.
Dale Jarrett moving the inside. The slower car there is Ron Lamell Jr. as they go 3 wide now, coming down out of turn 4. Jarrett makes the move in turn 1, and Gant just gives him plenty of room.
Gant's car going a little behind the turns. Whether that's by design, I don't know, Jerry. You mentioned a moment ago maybe it's conserving the tires, moving up there a little bit, or maybe the car's a little bit loose. Jarrett's car seems to be sticking down on the inside, and as we mentioned earlier, that's going to be the preferred groove for at least half of this race. Gant now trying to move down like Jarrett, falling through there and saying maybe there's a groove down there that I haven't found yet, and maybe that would be the better place to run.
We have seen a couple of cars make unscheduled stops as quickly in the pits a moment ago as we were watching this pass of Jarrett going by Gant. Rick Mass, we will mention, made a pit stop, and I'm just wondering what the tires are looking like in the pits. Maybe we'll have Benny Parsons take a look at that and see if there is some concern over tire wear early on. Here is Dale Jarrett, who started the race in 10th spot on lap number 10. He was in 5th, lap 20 up to 4th, and as of lap 40, is running in 2nd spot. Heavy traffic now as they work their way around. Dale Jarrett now really trying to reel in the leader, who is Kyle Petty.
Moving up on Jack Ingram, Kyle Petty running out by himself in the Ames department store, car number 42, Pontiac.
We are showing 42 laps in the books here at the North Carolina Motor Speedway for the Goodwrench 200. Kyle Petty continues to be the leader, but Dale Jarrett is closing quickly. Stay tuned. Yeah, Benny, Rick Mass made a pit stop and took some tires off, so a chance to talk about Kyle. I may want to mention a little bit about the unique deal they've got with the race car, with the sharing drivers with Todd Bodine. We'll get back to the leader.
Earnhardt's also on the move. He's up to 4th now.
at the North Carolina Motor Speedway for the Goodwrench 200. The leaderboard showing Kyle Petty as the leader. Dale Jarrett in second spot. Harry Gant, a contingent of Winston Cup regulars up front. Dale Earnhardt in fourth spot, and Mark Martin back in fifth as of 46 laps. In sixth, showing Michael Waltrip, Brazil handling car, now hanging on to the top 10. Kenny Schrader back in seventh spot. Ernie Irvin having trouble with his car after starting up front in eighth. Brad Teague pulling back into ninth, and L.D. Ottinger, the veteran Busch Series contender, is in the 10th spot. There's the leader, the Ames Pontiac of Kyle Petty. A great run for Kyle. The car is really dialed in. Now we'll go inside the car, and we'll show you how well the car is handling. He moves to the inside of the car number 4. That is Ed Carrier. Let's take a lap inside the Kyle Petty car. Now coming by the grandstand, jam-packed grandstands here at Rockingham, North Carolina. Pulling up on the Raven Boats car. That's the car number 22 of Rick Mass that made the unscheduled stop a moment ago. You see how Mass cars wobbling back and forth there? The car is not handling well at all for you.
No, it's not. And Kyle's car is just wherever he wants to put it, it sticks. Goes in on the outside there, no problem at all. Then he brings it back down to the inside of the racetrack. That's the kind of a race car a race driver likes to have, is one that he can move anywhere on the racetrack that he wants to.
Kyle Petty now moving in on the Dana Patton machine up in front of him. Heavy traffic. His car is slipping and sliding. He's got to be very careful. Patton, whoa, just about spinning. He gathers it back in. Dana Patton, one of the rookie drivers, and you get a shot now behind him as Kyle saying, oh, now his heart can begin to beat again.
I guarantee you it stopped for a moment. That was an anxious moment for him.
Heavy traffic now as Kyle trying to get through. His car is running very high on the racetrack. A couple of cars slipping and sliding and slowing a little bit. One of the cars coming down that was slowing somewhat was the Davey Johnson car, the car number 26. That is the young driver from Imperial, Pennsylvania.
Michael Waltrip continues to go backwards as Brad Teague has caught him, and here's Ernie Irvin in car number 58, the white car down on the inside, trying to make a move on Brad Teague. So Ernie getting speed back up in that car. He dropped back for a while, but he gets pinned in behind the Peck car, car number 96, and has to back off.
Brad Teague now really beginning to make his way to the front, the veteran driver who left Busch Series racing a year or so ago and now is back with longtime car owner Charlie Henderson out of Abington, Virginia. You see the average speed there, 135.299 miles per hour. They only qualified a little over 145 miles per hour, so a good speed here. We are some 40, now making 50 laps into this Goodwrench 200, so they are running some good laps here, some excellent laps. Michael Waltrip's car drifting very, very high, then in turns 1 and 2. He just cannot keep the car on the whoa, and a near miss again from Michael Waltrip. That's Kirk Bryant, the car number 50. That's the blue-white numeral Pontiac for Kirk Bryant. Michael Waltrip having his troubles here early on.
When Billy Engel, his crew chief, told Benny Parsons that car was loose, folks, it's not going to get any better. It's going to get worse as time goes by. So he's really going to have a long afternoon unless he can get a caution and come in for a pit stop and make his adjustments.
Indeed, Michael Waltrip is hoping for a yellow flag and hoping it's not him that causes it. Yeah. He would like to have a yellow flag here and be able to get the car down pit road and change tires. Back up front, meanwhile, Kyle Petty says, see ya. He's trying to work over the rear of Tommy Houston, veteran driver. Houston having struggled early on this year in his Buick. And Kyle Petty now making a move inside. Remember, a week ago at Richmond, Kyle was leading up there and trying to make a move inside one of the lap cars and got the car out of shape and lost the lead to Dale Earnhardt.
Tommy Houston now running in the 18th position, so we're about, and there's Jimmy Hensley in car number 25, about to be lapped as well.
And Kyle Petty working over that crew. Meanwhile, Mark Martin's car, back to car number 1, he is back in the field there. He is again trying to get that Carolina Ford dealer's machine, the Bill Davis owned car, back up to speed. Martin still being shown back in the 5th spot. Martin's car running pretty well, pretty consistently there in 5th spot. How about, what's their strategy? I wonder. Let's check in with Benny Parsons down in the Mark Martin pit.
Jerry, watch out down with Bill Davis. Bill, the car seems to be drifting back a little bit. You got a problem?
Well, we really need a caution, Benny, so we get in and do a little adjustment on the chassis, change our tire size a little bit, and I think we'll be all right.
Is it the extra horsepower that's creating the problems for you?
Well, I don't know. We hope it was going to help. No, it's good. You know, Don Falkey's done a great job with the motor. Our chance to do it now. We're going to be all right.
Okay, we'll check and see what happens later on.
There's a good look at Mark Martin, the young driver from Batesville, Arkansas. And Martin currently back in the 5th spot. Up in front of Martin is the Dale Earnhardt machine. Just to the left of your picture there, you see that black and white numeral car number 3, Earnhardt, who won the Goodies 300. He is on the move, beginning to reel in some of the lead cars. Earnhardt being shown in 4th spot, and the car he is chasing right now will be the Harry Gant machine. Earnhardt had to be very careful. The 08 is Bobby Dotter. That is Clifford Allison in the 34. Earnhardt gives them plenty of room, knowing they are of lesser experience, of course, than the other drivers. Earnhardt now coming across toward turn 1. Let's see, Earnhardt in turn 1 then.
Yes, and the leaders are up in turn 3 already, Jerry, and he's keeping a much higher groove than many of the other drivers. You can see him drifting up there. He's found something to his liking. Of course, Dale Earnhardt is a real pro at searching over the racetrack. If that car is not working exactly right, he'll find him a spot on the racetrack that he can drive it fast, and that's what he's done, and moved him up into 4th place.
And the way they do it is basically every lap the crew chief will call out a time to him on their headset radio, and so as they search for a groove lap by lap, they know which groove is a little bit quicker. Jamie Albee now making a second unscheduled stop, the 2-time Busch National North Series champion. Let's take a look at Earnhardt's progression here early on. He started in the 11th spot, now through the early laps is now being shown up in the 4th position, and his car, of course, ill handling. Ned, I think that probably with the cars handling as poorly as they are here, the experienced Winston Cup guys have to have the advantage.
Well, I think so, and it's showing up on the rundown. They're running at about the top 7 positions. Earnhardt is now 9 7/10 seconds behind Kyle Petty, who is leading the race, so that's a little less than a half a lap.
Here's the car number 9 of Ben Hess on pit road for service. A number of cars have made pit stops. They are jacking weight in the car, Ned.
Yes, they are. When they're screwing down on that left rear spring, that means they're trying to put more bite in the back end on that left rear tire to make the back end hold a little bit better, so it won't be as loose for it. Michael Walker has just gone through a big pack of track. He put a lap on L.D. Ottinger, car number 2, running back behind him, coming up on other cars to lap them. So Kyle Petty continues to run very, very strong.
You see L.D. Ottinger's car slowing there as a couple of cars nearly come together. Tommy Houston, the car number 6, and Ward Burton, the young driver back there. There is Kyle Petty now behind the car number 16 of Randy McDonald. Looks like a flying wedge in front of Petty. Now he moves to the inside of one car, and now will slip up very gingerly trying to get around Randy McDonald. You have to be very careful. He knows he probably has one of the quickest, if not the quickest car here, but he certainly has to take his time picking his way through traffic. A lot of concern. There have been unscheduled pit stops by the car number 2 of L.D. Ottinger. Jamie Albee has been on pit road twice, as has Rick Mast. The concern over the tires. Isn't that right, Benny?
That's what I wanted to check out to make sure that the tires were okay. L.D. Ottinger cut his tire. You can see where that mark cut on it. But look down here. These are the depth marks on the tire. The tire, as you can see, is slick, but those are the depth marks, and they're fine. We have whatsoever these cars in these tires.
There's been a problem here over the years. Last year, Rick Mast had a great run going here. Ended up cutting 4 tires down at 4 different times and just couldn't get the car to run back up front. They had trouble afternoon, and now the snake has bitten L.D. Ottinger. You saw the cut tires there. Meanwhile, Kyle Petty is certainly having his way at it. Michael Waltrip now having his tough day. His day continues to struggle. You see his hands flapping back and forth inside the car. He is not swatting flies. He literally is trying to handle an ill-handling machine. Wrestling that steering wheel back and forth, the car drifting up in the turns there. Michael Waltrip in the car number 30.
And Tommy Ellis, who is the last car on the lead lap, Jerry. There are only 12 cars on the lead lap now. Kyle Petty leading, Dale Jarrett second, Harry Gant third, Earnhardt is fourth, Mark Martin is fifth. Then comes Kenny Schrader in 6th place. Brad Higgs moved back up to 7th. Ernie Irvin is 8th. 9th is Bobby Hamilton. Michael Waltrip has dropped back now to 11th. When Kenny Wallace moved around him, that moved Wallace into 10th place, and the car number 99 of Tommy Ellis running in 12th place. There's 12 cars on the lead lap. And there's a spin over in turn 2.
A couple of cars loose.
That's car number 5.
That is Ward Burton, the young driver from Virginia, young rookie driver, the J.E. Burton machine. He's looping around, and the caution flag will be shown in the field here for the first time today.
And boy, that was, I don't know if Michael Waltrip had just been lapped by Kyle Petty, and I don't know if he beat Kyle back to the line or not. They are big friends, and don't know how much of a friendship they have on the racetrack, but Michael Waltrip did race Kyle Petty back to the start-finish line, so I don't know if he got his lap back or not.
There's 28-year-old Ward Burton, the driver who brought out the yellow flag, as his car now looped around. There are backstretch pits. You see a crew member now climbing in the car and will make a major chassis adjustment on that car. We are under caution here at North Carolina Motor Speedway for the first time today. Kyle Petty is showing the way here early on in the Goodwrench 200. Ward Burton's car getting service there in the pits. Remember, there are pits on the front and back straightaways. And if you're wondering, the leaders make their way down pit road, you will see all the pit boards out. Here is Kyle Petty's crew down the pits as they're getting ready to service that car. Remember, you can only take on 2 tires here under Busch rules during a caution flag stop.
And, of course, that's what they're doing on both Jarrett and Kyle Petty, taking on right side tires on both of those cars. Let's see who gets out first.
Jerry Kinnon's crew changing right side tires for the Kyle Petty on the top. John Urban's veteran crew now having changed tires, adding a little bit of fuel in that car. And his car now moving away. Jarrett getting boxed in somewhat. His car is now moving down pit road. Here is Kenny Wallace in the car number 36. There's Tommy Ellis pulling in. You see Harry Gant. Now standing pit stop, and Gant will be the first of the leaders to come back onto the track toward turn 1. There you see the rear of Harry Gant's car out of the Ames department store race cam. And Ned, you were correct. Michael Waltrip has lost a lap.
Yeah, he tried to race Kyle Petty back to the line, but didn't quite make it, and he knew it. They stopped him at the start-finish line, so he is a lap down now. He's in front of the leaders right now, so he would be at the tail end of the lead lap, but I suspect he'll be coming into the pits.
No, he has not made a pit stop yet, and so he will have to possibly stay up with the leaders and maybe try to get another yellow flag if possible. We are under caution here at North Carolina Motor Speedway for the spin by the young driver Ward Burton from Virginia. Yellow flag continues here. We'll be back in just a moment before green flag.
They're looking at the tape on the car?
Yeah, the replay tape.
Oh, okay.
If you can get the camera to show Timmy Arp down pit road, right in the middle of pit road, just up from the Raven Boat pits, BP, you get our pit camera to show Timmy Arp looking at that tape. He's right beside the Winston Cup Series booth there in the middle of the pits.
Ben is down in the Michael Walker pit.
That's all right. What's the problem with back in North Carolina Motor Speedway? Let's go down to Benny Parsons for the pit stop of Michael Walker.
Jared, they are changing right sides and are also putting the rubber in the right front, something to hold the right front up so it doesn't drop down as much and help the chassis. They've made that adjustment. They're now putting the tire back on. It does not look like they're going to change the left sides. Right front going back on, the car down. Michael Walker, car slides out of gear, now he's away.
So heavy work being done on the Michael Waltrip car. Let's take a look and see what caused this caution, the first yellow flag of the afternoon there in turn 2. Ned?
There's the car number 5 of Ward Burton down on the inside. Tries to go on the inside of the car number 79 of Dave Resendez. He might have got clipped just a little bit by the car number 86, Dana Patton. I believe he did, and it spins him around.
Let's show you the top 5 here as we are still under caution. There's Bobby Scruggs in the flag stand getting ready to unfurl the green flag again. 59 laps are complete as we are getting ready to go back to green after great pit activity, and Bobby Scruggs will wave the green flag. Jimmy Hensley and Tommy Houston, the 2 cars at the front of the field as they move back to turn 1. Heavy traffic back in there. A couple of cars being squeezed together as they go 3 wide. That was Clifford Allison. There's a couple of cars on the bottom of the racetrack. We saw Tommy Houston early on get lapped. He is a lapped car. The car on the lead lap, and the current leader is the car number 7 of Harry Gant. But coming on awfully strong is Kyle Petty.
So for his fans watching in, Brad is now a couple of laps down.
Well, Tommy Houston has gotten his Buick dialed in, the car number 6 there, the Rosa Stores car, but looks like here again now trying to make a run on Houston over in turn 3. A lot of these drivers were thankful to see the yellow flag finally come out and get the car dialed in. As one driver who did not want to see a yellow flag is the guy you're riding with right now, Kyle Petty, inside the Ames department store Pontiac. He is seeing an all-rear deck of the Buick, the Ed Whitaker prepared car for Harry Gant.
Yeah, he was just riding out front there, no problems at all, whipping through traffic, putting laps on cars. It wasn't going to be long until he was only going to have 6 or 7 cars in the lead lap, and certainly you like to do that if you're a race driver, get as many of them a lap down as you can. And there's trouble over in turn 3.
One car spinning, that is Randy McDonald, the car number 6 that looks to have spun out of turn 3 that comes down to the bottom of the apron. The car is now making evasive maneuvers.
Now, Kyle Petty has passed Harry Gant, trying to catch Tommy Houston to put him a lap down. Of course, Houston wants to race back to the start-finish line, and it'll help him if he can get back first, but Kyle Petty knows that Houston is a tough competitor, says, I need to get him a lap down, but he's not going to be able to. Tommy Houston will get his lap back.
Certainly a break for the 44-year-old Hickory driver and a veteran driver in Busch Series competition. Tommy Houston able to get his lap back. Let's show you what happened there in turn 3. Heavy traffic now. Ronald Cooper, the car number 56. That's Randy McDonald, the 16. As his car possibly gets clipped and begins to spin, Michael Waltrip just getting by. Cooper does a great job to get by, as does Resendez in the car number 79 and Ed Barrier. And Kyle sees what's happening. Harry backing off, seeing the smoke down the other end of the straightaway. Kyle makes the move inside, takes the lead from Harry Gant, and sets his sights on Tommy Houston, and he could not catch Tommy. Tommy gets back in the lead lap. We are under caution here for the second time this afternoon.
Okay, the leader's coming back down pit road. This time, Jerry, I suspect they'll be changing left side tires. Just moments ago, they took on right side tires, and some of them might be able to go the rest of the way on fuel. They are changing left side tires on both Kyle Petty, Dale Jarrett getting left side tires in the Nesca's front car, and they'll pack every ounce of gasoline in all of those cars they can possibly get in.
You saw Kenny get up with the crew down on Nesca's front cars. Dale Jarrett's car is down on the way. Good pit stop there. Kyle Petty's car is beginning to move. Harry Gant's car already having come down pit road. Chris Carrier, an outstanding job. He is the crew chief on the Harry Gant car. Chris Carrier, 29-year-old crew chief. He's an engineering major. He graduated with an engineering degree from East Tennessee State University, doing an outstanding job for Harry Gant today. We are inside the Ames Pontiac here, and the second caution flag of the day, showing 75 laps complete. We'll be back in a moment, North Carolina Motor Speedway. Benny may want to check that some of these guys can go the distance. We're under caution again. They're waving the yellow flag. Completed. The next 5, Mark Martin, Schrader, in 6th and 7th spot, as you see the top 10 there here at North Carolina Motor Speedway. And that's pretty true. Last week at Richmond, we mentioned the fact that Earnhardt had been on the bias ply tire for the Busch Series race, got back in the Winston Cup car with the radial that takes a little while to heat up, and had trouble.
It did. The first lap out, the first full speed lap out, he got into the wall, had to go to a backup car and start in the rear of the field. So there is a definite different feel of the two tires, and as Benny says, you don't learn quite as much as you used to when you were running the same type of tire.
Pontiac safety car, you're taking a look at the field now coming through turns 3 and 4. You're inside with Kyle Petty, who has been the dominant car here for most of the day. 2 caution flags here today. One, of course, the Ward Burton car spinning. Just recently, this caution flag being brought out by the spinning car of Randy McDonald down in turn 3.
Okay, we're going one more lap, Jerry. They had given the 1 lap signal the time before, but the lights didn't go off on the pace car. So now we're getting one more lap before we go back to green. There are currently 11 cars in the lead lap. Of course, Kenny Wallace leading, Harry Gant second, Kyle Petty third, Dale Jarrett fourth, Dale Earnhardt fifth, Mark Martin sixth, Kenny Schrader seventh, Ernie Irvin eighth, Tommy Ellis ninth, Bobby Hamilton 10th, and Tommy Houston 11th.
And remember, a lot of action here tomorrow on ESPN at 12 noon. The Goodwrench 500. They're coming your way live from North Carolina Motor Speedway at noon. Bob Jenkins, myself, Ned Jarrett, Benny Parsons, and Dick Berggren will be on hand to bring you all the lap-by-lap action. 492 laps of Winston Cup action tomorrow here at 12 noon on ESPN for the Goodwrench 500. We're getting ready to go to green back here for the Goodwrench 200, the Busch Grand National Series event here for the afternoon. 79 laps completed. Will be 80 this time by. 197 will complete it this afternoon. We are less than halfway home, and Kenny Wallace, the young defending Rookie of the Year on the Busch Series Tour, will lead him down the green flag from Bobby Scruggs. Wallace will try to hold off here on lap 80, the charge of Harry Gant. Field sweeping now through turns 1 and 2, and Gant is on the move. There's one car now slowing down the back. That is Patty Moise's Buick, who's creeping along the inside of the back straightaway. He is now out of the racing group, but the youngster Wallace now trying to hold off Harry Gant.
Two green cars battling for the lead. Gant gets the advantage as they head into turn 1.
Now Kyle Petty seeing he has a mirror full, or actually a windshield full, of that Cox car of Kenny Wallace, car number 36.
And the yellow flag is out. Patty Moise apparently didn't make it back to the pits on the back stretch, so the yellow flag waves once again as Harry Gant brings it down the back stretch.
Harry Gant taking no chances here that he would allow any cars to get back around him to catch up a lap. Gant showing as the leader here. Patty Moise, who has been running a limited schedule here in Busch Series competition since 1986, former road racer, had an outstanding career in the IMSA ranks, the International Motorsports Association ranks, along the road courses, and decided this year she was going to run a full series on the Busch Tour, become the first woman to run the full tour here in Busch Series racing. Let's check in on pit road with Benny Parsons. Benny?
Jerry, about 85 laps been run. Can you go the rest of the way on fuel?
It's going to be real close. The gas guy's figuring it right now. If it comes down to it, we'll chance it.
What about, is the tires, everything looks to be okay on Kyle's car?
Yeah, the tires look real good. We took them off, and they still had 430 seconds on them. I think just stickers run so much faster. They don't really slow down that much. It's just that they get hot and get greasy.
A lot of guys have been making adjustments on their cars on the pit stop. Have you had to adjust your car?
I hadn't had to do a thing to it, just change tires.
Okay, good luck.
Thanks.
That was Jerry Kennett, who is the 32-year-old crew chief for the current Kyle Petty machine. Of course, Jerry Kennett, back in his early days, he's only 32 now, but back when he was about 22 years old, he was the crew chief for Sam Ard, who was such a scourge of the short tracks here in the Southeast, and went on to win, we said, 2 national championships and an event here at North Carolina Motor Speedway. They seem to have their car dialed in for these final laps. This final laps here winding down towards the halfway point, actually, as Harry Gant showing the way in turn 3.
And Kenny Wallace running in second place. Kyle Petty third, Dale Jarrett fourth, and Dale Earnhardt fifth. Mark Martin in sixth place. We're going to see us scrambling. Green flag ready to wait.
Green flag waving, and Harry Gant will pull away. Now Kyle Petty realizes he can't wait for a long time, or Harry will get gone. Kyle needs to get around the Kenny Wallace machine. He's got to be very careful not to use up his tires or his race car in doing it. Now you see Kenny Wallace's car in front of the Ames department store Pontiac for Kyle Petty. That is Kenny Wallace's car to the outside. The orange car in front, that's the Bobby Labonte machine. The car being shown left now.
Seems to be running in the fourth position as Kyle Petty takes the measure of Kenny Wallace. Here comes Dale Jarrett down on the inside. Now remember, the 36 car didn't stop and change those left side tires. And here that might be making the difference. This car just won't stay down on the inside of the racetrack.
As Dale Earnhardt now shuffles Kenny Wallace back in position even more.
That moved him back to fifth.
There's Harry Gant now some 7 car lengths on the lap car of Bobby Labonte, and holding his own right now. Young Labonte getting that car down a little bit. Here's the cars out of the race. Jeff Spraker, the young driver who flew down from the New England area, and Patty Moise, the most recent cause of their car stalling in the back stretch. Now, Harry Gant gets excellent gas mileage in the car. In fact, we talked to him earlier today. Chris Carrier was down there, and I went down and talked to him. They thought they could go about 125 miles. They weren't really sure, though. Let's find out with Benny Parsons, who's standing by in the Harry Gant pit.
Chris Carrier, crew chief, can you go the rest of the way on fuel?
I really didn't hear what you said.
Can you go the rest of the way on fuel?
It'll be awful close. I got a feeling we'll probably end up stopping anyway before the end of the race. The racetrack, the way it is real green after the rain. It washed all the rubber off last night. The tires are going away pretty quick. We got a good tire down here, but a real green racetrack, like sandpaper out there. Times are falling off. We put 4 tires on the last 2 pit stops, picked up second and a half.
Okay, Chris, thanks.
Wow, that's quite a difference, Jerry. just putting on new tires, picking up a second and a half. I didn't realize that they had slowed that much because it looked like they were going at a real good clip before they put on those new tires, but they were really running fast now.
Tommy Houston never got his lap back, and he has been the car that we've been watching here make his way back up through the field. Heavy traffic now in a turn 4. That is the car number 12. Good run for Jeff Burton, the South Boston, Virginia driver, a young man who had a third-place finish last year at Martinsville, Virginia. Driving for Sam R., the veteran driver who now retired and has become a car owner. There is Tom Peck in the car number 96 from McConnellsburg, Pennsylvania. Cut his teeth on some of the short tracks up there in Pennsylvania. He ran last year here on the full tour for the Busch Series. That's a pretty good run.
Dave Resendez in the car number 79. Let's take a look at him as he goes into the turn. He gets tapped just a little bit. You can see the smoke as those two cars got together. The Jeff Burton car number 12, but Resendez gets it back under control.
Meanwhile, Kyle Petty has gone around Harry Gant to take the lead here in the Goodwrench 200, and Gant will be content to show you to sit in second spot right now as Kyle Petty being shown. We'll show you what happened there in turn 3.
Similar to what happened earlier, Jerry, when he passed Harry Gant. Gant's car got a little bit loose coming up off of turn 2. Kyle Petty stayed down on the inside and was able to move on going into turn 3 and take the lead.
Kyle Petty now showing about a car length over Harry Gant. Petty's Pontiac is there. Gant is next. Third place car about 4 car lengths back. That is the Dale Jarrett machine just coming into your picture. Good battle back in the pack between Tommy Ellis and the car number 75 of Brad Teague. And car number 6 of Tommy Houston that got his lap back a minute ago. His car really not handling all that well. Tommy now trying to get his way back up to the pack, moving to the outside of the Chuck Bound car.
He's running right now in the, they're showing in 10th position, Jerry. Still, of course, on the lead lap, as you mentioned. And car number 75, Brad Teague, the black car there, did lose a couple of laps in the pits.
They call Tommy Mr. Consistency. Tommy Houston we're talking about. He has started all 239 Busch Series races since the series began 9 years ago. It's a family affair for the Houston plant. Tommy, of course, the driver, and his sons, Scott, Marty, and Andy, the 3 sons, are the crew members of the car. Just ahead of Tommy Houston, there's the battle. That is Bobby Hamilton in the car number 8, and Ernie Irvin in the car number 58.
And you can see Kenny Wallace there. He has dropped all the way back. He's currently now running in about the 8th position. Was leading this race when the green flag came out after the 1 caution, then dropped back to 2nd, but now is really dropping back. Bobby Hamilton about to pass it forward another position. Here comes Ernie Irvin, car number 58. They are battling for position. That's for the 8th, 9th, and 10th position.
Bobby Hamilton showing a lot of Speedway savvy now, taking this car on the bottom of the racetrack. This is car number 8. He's been a 3-time short track champion up at Nashville, Tennessee.
Now Tommy Houston joins in the fray of that battle. Houston's car maybe worked a little bit better than he was a moment ago. He's going on the inside of Kenny Wallace. I think it was a mistake that Wallace didn't come in and take on left side tires when the other drivers did. That might work to his advantage if his caution later on.
Let's check in to see what kind of adjustments they made on Tommy Houston's car. Benny Parsons is standing by in their pit. Benny?
Yes, Jerry, I'm with the boy that's the crew chief, Scott. What did you do on that pit stop, Scott?
Well, we just put new tires back on it. He said the car was a little loose that we let the leaders get away from it. We did some adjusting past 2 days. I think we got it pretty close.
Is he running about as fast as the leader now?
Right now he's running a tenth slower than what the leaders did, but he's a traffic.
But he's a traffic. So if you get up there, you think you got a shot at this thing, right?
We'll see.
Very talented young man, 24-year-old Scott Houston. As Tommy Houston now, 1990 results, he has finished 38th at Daytona, 12th at Richmond, and here the leaders now beginning to heat it up a little bit as Harry Gant trying to take the lead away back in turn 1. Kyle Petty will slam the door.
Kyle using the low groove, just didn't give Harry any racing room down there, but Harry has, since Kyle moved around him, has stayed right there on him. Dale Jarrett began to creep up a little bit, and Earnhardt staying closer to the leaders. He's running 4th behind Jarrett, so he's staying closer to them than he did before, so I'm sure they made some adjustments on his Goodwrench Chevrolet.
Almost looks like Harry Gant is having to really struggle with this car a little bit in the turns, and Kyle just turns this car left, hugs the bottom groove of the racetrack. gives up about a half a car length as Gant gives up about another half a car length or so.
They're getting the halfway mark now, so this race will be official as the sun is shining here at the North Carolina Motor Speedway.
99 laps complete, 197 will comprise this Goodwrench 200. Over $99,000 up for grabs today in this Busch Series event. Harry Gant just 2 car lengths back, and you see now about 4 car lengths behind Gant was the car of Dale Jarrett.
And trouble over in turn 2.
That's Clifford Allison who has spun his car. Traffic now trying to get by. That's the CC Racing Waltney Meats car, the Buick of Clifford Allison, 26-year-old driver from Ewingtown, Alabama. He gets the car right. There's a look at Clifford. Impressive young driver who cut his teeth in the short tracks around Montgomery and Birmingham, getting some Speedway experience.
Now, Jerry, it'd be interesting to see that they were questioning whether they could go the rest of the way on fuel. Let's see if they come in and top the tanks off, because they definitely can go the rest of the way from here.
I would be surprised if the leaders did not come in and at least take advantage of the yellow flag for tires. Tires so critical here. We've already heard from Benny Parsons about how fresh rubber can mean a second a lap here at Rockingham. Let's take a look at what happened to Clifford Allison up out of turn 2. Young driver now trying to get his car through turn. The car already broad sliding on the apron. Slips up across the track. Ronald Cooper does an evasive move to get by. A couple of cars sliding beneath him, Ward Burton and others, and Clifford gets the car, puts the clutch in, fires the car back, and heads back towards pit road.
The leaders were not too far behind him. They were going into turn 1 when he was spinning off of turn 2, but they got slowed down and everything was okay. Now let's see, are they coming into the pits or are they going to stay out there? Here they come, all of them down pit road. When Kyle Petty made his move, everybody else had to do the same. Let's go to Benny Parsons.
Headed for the pits. Let's go to Benny Parsons.
Harry Gant's bringing the Skoll Buick into the pits. They go around to the right side. Kyle Petty in the pits as well. His car is up. They're changing the right sides. The car is full of fuel. Harry Gant's car full of fuel. Harry Gant is down and away he goes. Oh, almost a collision. 86. Dana Patton had to. Kyle Petty losing valuable time in the pits. He manages to get out. Clifford Allison, Kyle Petty almost ran the back of L.D. Ottinger. I tell you, it's chaos on pit road, Jerry Parnell. How you doing?
I tell you, it's a lot of fun at MVP. You're up close and personal there with those pit stops as you're watching from inside the camera a minute ago. You see Harry Gant's crew now. His car being serviced by the Ed Whitaker, Chris Carrier team. They move around the car. Gant's car comes off the jack and is down and away. And just a near miss there. That's the Dana Patton car. Dana trying to get his car turned left into his pits as Gant misses that collision on pit road. And then just moments later, Kyle Petty nearly had a rear-end collision with the L.D. Ottinger car that was trying to make the left-hand turn back into the pits. We are under caution here at North Carolina Motor Speedway. 103 laps in the books. What actually happened? Why was he in the pit so long? Were they having trouble with the wrench down there in BP? Kyle's pit? I mean, he was the first guy to get into the pits and obviously one of the last to get out.
Ten-4.
Speedway, just back to green flag racing, and now we have another spin down in turns 1 and 2. That is the Dave Resendez car, having spawned down out of harm's way, and the car coming down on the inside track apron. Just getting back to green flag competition. We are again under yellow. Caution flag coming out again here at North Carolina Motor Speedway, just past the halfway point. Let's take a look at what happened to Dave Resendez car down in turn 1.
It goes. Kyle Petty tries to get down on the inside of Resendez, and apparently they touch a little bit, and it sends the car number 79 of the Resendez around. Kyle Petty goes high in the car number 42 and gets on around.
Let's take a look from inside Kyle Petty's in-car here in the Ames Department Store race cam and show you what happened. Now we're in the front straightaway.
Kyle tagged him just a little bit as he went into the turn, and you heard Kyle get out of the gas onto the brakes, and then once the car number 79 was spinning, he got back on the gas.
Tommy Ellis, one of the series champions from 1988 on the pit road. Mike Hillman and the crew working on the Goo Goo Clusters Buick. That's the J&J Racing Machine. John Jackson and Bill Papke, the co-owners of that car.
This could be a good smart move, coming in and taking on left side tires. The other leaders are not doing that. Now Ellis was running in the 7th position, one of the 11 cars on the lead lap, but now he has fresh left side tires. The others don't have.
That could be a move for Tommy Ellis, a veteran crew chief and veteran driver. Mike Hillman and Tommy Ellis, a team that combined for a great season a couple of years ago and went on to win the Busch Series championship. One of the reasons that Kyle Petty was back in the pack there was when that previous caution flag came out. Even though he was the leader in the first car off pit road, he was one of the last cars to get out of the pit road. He pitted in first spot, came out in 6th position on lap 102. And that's why Kyle Petty was back in that lap traffic and got in the tangle back there with Dave Resendez.
Petty's running in the 5th position right now behind Dale Earnhardt, as Harry Gant leads him into turn 1.
Now getting chased by Dale Jarrett out of turn 2. Jarrett showing a lot of strength in his Pontiac. Here's the leader. And Earnhardt back in 4th spot. He is trying to move in on the 3rd place car. That's the car number 1 of Mark Martin.
Now Jarrett trying to move on the inside of Harry Gant as they come off of turn 4. He has already passed Gant one time today, but it was for 2nd position. One car that he hasn't passed is Kyle Petty, but Kyle's behind him now. So let's see if he can pass Gant one more time. This time would be for the lead. I don't think Jarrett has led today. He has run 2nd, but that's the highest he's been.
Fresh tires on those cars, enabling him to stay on the bottom of the racetrack. Now the car slipping up just a little bit in turn 3. Gant trying to keep his car hovered toward the bottom groove. Fresh racetrack, clear racetrack, basically in front of the leaders. And Kyle Petty here beginning to make his move. Here's Kyle Petty back in the 5th spot, car number 42. Earnhardt has passed Mark Martin for 3rd, so it's Earnhardt in 3rd, Martin is 4th, and there is Kyle Petty in 5th. Now from inside Kyle Petty's Ames Pontiac, the rear deck here of the Mark Martin car.
He's got a little splattering of dirt on his windshield there.
As is normally the case late in the day here, Ned, the sun can get down and be a problem for a glare for some of the drivers.
Well, it can, but there's not too much sunshine here at this particular time of the day at the North Carolina Motor Speedway. But boy, tomorrow, the sun is scheduled to shine all day, and late in the 500-mile race, it really gets tough going into turn 1. You're looking directly into the sun.
There's Dale Earnhardt, currently running in the 3rd spot. Mark Martin's car drifting up a little bit. Kyle Petty not showing exactly the handle he had on the car early on. He's having a little bit of trouble with Martin. Dale Earnhardt, 2 races. He finished 1st at Daytona and finished 2nd at Richmond. Not a bad couple of weeks of Busch Series racing. And of course, as we said early in the show, he is the current Busch Series point leader.
One of the 11 cars that was in the lead lap, Bobby Hamilton, made an unscheduled pit stop and gone a lap down. So now we only have 10 cars on the lead lap. Here's Kyle trying to move on the inside of Mark Martin.
Kyle Petty trying to get the momentum to make his move inside, and he sweeps beneath the Ford of Mark Martin, puts his Pontiac now in the 3rd position.
And up front, Dale Jarrett now trying to make a move on Harry Gant. He gets the nose of the Nestle's Crunch Pontiac out front as across the start-finish line. He was almost in dead heat, but Jarrett has been beating Gant in turns 1 and 2. Right here is where he's been doing, coming off of the turn. Jarrett's car is a little bit stronger down on the inside. Gant's car slips up a little bit there, and that gave him the advantage.
show you Kyle Petty now. There's the front two cars of Jarrett and Gant, and Kyle Petty going beneath.
And trouble over in turn 2.
Heavy contact with the wall. Another impact out of turn 2. Ronald Cooper involved, as is the car number 88 out of turn 2. That is Randy Baker. Now Baker's car is spinning and tagging the outside wall, coming down across right in front of Ronald Cooper. And if Ronald Cooper didn't have any bad luck, he wouldn't have any luck at all. The tough break at Daytona, but he gets the car fired. He's trying to nurse his battered Ford Thunderbird.
It's on fire under there. And can you believe that car would even run? The way it's speed up, you'd think the radiator would be pushed back over the engine, because they hit hard, and now it looks like the car number 88 trying to move a little bit.
Let's see what happened here out of turn 2. There's the car number 88 of Baker spinning. His car will come up and tag the wall. Hard contact with the wall. Comes down. Ronald Cooper's in the brake. See the smoke from the brake. He's trying to miss it and just can't quite. He tagged the right front fender, and Cooper's Thunderbird has been shortened by about 1.5 feet. Those cars now trying to make their way back to the pits.
And the leaders are in the pits. Jerry, let's go down and check in with Benny Parsons.
I'm in a Kyle Petty pit, and they're having trouble with the jack. The jack's going down. They finally get the car up. They're changing left sides. I'll roll the tires so they can get it. Harry Gant also changing tires. Martin changing to the left sides on his. Harry Gant's away. There goes Dale Earnhardt. Earnhardt is going to be there again. Pit road.
Well, Dale Jarrett had a very slow pit stop that time. He's the one that lost. He went in leading the race. I don't know what the problem was, but they had problems with the left side. They changed left side tires on it, and he's the one that dropped back the farthest.
Let's take a look at the impact here. This car bouncing off. That's Randy Baker's car coming off the wall in turn 2. And on the brakes, hard on the binders. Ouch. Right front fender now being shoved in. Remember Ronald Cooper's problem at Daytona. He was one of the only drivers taken to the hospital, to the Halifax hospital there to be checked out. Was kept overnight for a brain scan and a few things. He was certainly found to be okay and is back at racing. What a tough break for Ronald Cooper, as the safety crew is now attending to pick up the car number 88. That's the Randy Baker machine. Car number 6, Tommy Houston showing the way. Remember, Houston made the move early on to stay in the lead lap, and now Tommy, it's paid off for him as the 44-year-old veteran leads the way here at Rockingham. We are just past the halfway point. 118 laps complete here in the Goodwrench 200. Stay tuned for more green flag action coming up next after this.
Yeah, they got enough fuel. Everybody's got fuel. That has been no problem since the last stop. We might refer to the fact that Tommy Ellis just made that left side tire change, that we made a point about it and say, hey, now he's at second place because of that.
Houston did not hit. That's correct. For Ellis. So they should go by Tommy pretty quickly. Houston, that is. Rockingham, North Carolina. Record crowd here for the afternoon for the Goodwrench 200. And we thank you for that hello to ESPN, this fine folks from the Sand Hills part of North Carolina on head here for the Goodwrench 200. We are under caution here once again. The 6th caution of the day for an accident out of turn 2 involving 2 cars, and the Ronald Cooper car now being pulled back. That's the car number 88 that spun initially to cause the caution. Randy Baker from Charlotte, North Carolina, in his Banquet Frozen Foods Pontiac, has been heavily damaged in the rear of the car. And here is Dale Jarrett. Dale Jarrett had a tough time in the pits, Ned.
Yes, he did. He went in leading the race and came out in 9th place. I don't know what the situation was. They were up on the jack quite a bit with the changing left side tires. I saw John Urban going up talking to one of the NASCAR officials, so I don't know what that meant. But anyway, Jarrett has a lot of making up to do. That's the farthest back that he's been since early in the race when he started 10th place.
Let's hit the top 5 here. Tommy Houston being shown as the leader. He did not pit. Neither did Tommy Ellis, who made that good pit stop earlier and made the left side tire change. That'll be a car to watch. Kenny Wallace, the rookie of the year from last year, is 3rd. Dale Earnhardt is 4th, and Harry Gant is 5th. That's the top 5 as we are now still working the 6th caution flag of the day. Let's go down to Benny Parsons, who's standing by, about an update on some of the drivers.
Jerry Punch, I watched the ambulance drop off Ronald Cooper. He got out of the ambulance on his own power, walked in the hospital. So he looked at me like he was perfectly okay on his own power. So good news.
That is great news. Ronald Cooper, we mentioned, had been taken to a hospital in Daytona. They thought he might have a broken jaw and a concussion. They x-rayed him. His jaw was not broken, just bruised. And he had a mild concussion, but he is doing very well. Raced at Richmond last weekend. Is back at Rockingham, but a tough break for the young driver from the state of Georgia. We continue under caution here at North Carolina Motor Speedway. And let's go down to Benny Parsons one more time. Benny?
Jerry, I'm with Randy Baker. Randy, okay?
Yeah, I'm just fine.
What happened back there?
Benny, I don't know. The car was working super today. We went off in the corner, and right as we got in the corner there, the Banquet Frozen Foods Pontiac seemed to just get out from under me. I don't know whether I might have got a little help or not, but the car came on around, and somebody else collected me over in turn 2.
How's the car? Pretty serious?
Yeah, the car's hurt. I don't know whether that one's going to make it to Darlington or not. We'll have to go back and assess the damage.
Well, it's good to see you around, Randy.
Thank you, Benny.
Randy is a driving school instructor with his dad here at the North Carolina Motor Speedway, the Buck Baker Driving School.
And they will certainly have a lot of work to get that car ready to go to Darlington in a couple of weeks. We'll be bringing you that race on ESPN, but for now, we've got more action here from North Carolina Motor Speedway in the Goodwrench 200. Stay tuned. At the championship game. Okay. We are back at North Carolina Motor Speedway under caution here for the 6th time today for the crash involving 2 cars. We've heard from Randy Baker and Ronald Cooper also involved down at the Infield Care Center. Ronald Cooper has stepped out of his car, and we'll get a comment from him in just a moment and see the field there behind the Pontiac safety car. Let's go down to Benny Parsons, who's caught up with Ronald Cooper.
Ronald, I saw you walk in the hospital. They checked out. You're all okay?
Yeah, I'm getting used to going in there. I'm going to have something to change my luck.
What happened, do you know?
Whenever Randy spun over there, I went up high, and whenever I did, the brakes locked up, and I was trying to turn it down, but it just didn't get it in time.
What's this, 2 crashes in 3 races?
Yeah, we crashed one at Daytona and totaled it out, and that one's in pretty bad shape. Broke a oil line at Richmond, so it's been a rough season.
But at least everything looks good. You got Billy Woodruff in as a crew chief, and things are looking up in 1990 for you.
Yeah, we'll just have to come back a little tougher next week and put it all together.
But good to see you out.
Appreciate it. Thank you, Benny.
Likable young driver, Ronald Cooper, having his tough luck here in the early part of the 1990 season for Busch Grand National Series competition. We might mention you saw a foot basketball game coming up next at 4 o'clock today. Of course, that is a game between the Florida State Seminoles and South Carolina Gamecocks. And we're getting into March Madness here in the NCAA basketball. Obligations will say we'll check into that ball game at 4 o'clock today, but we'll come back just shortly thereafter to show you the final laps here of the Goodwrench 200. We had a rain delay early on. It cost us some time early on. The basketball scheduled for 4 p.m. So we'll show you basketball and auto racing, two of our favorite sports here in the spring, as we're getting ready to go back to green here. Lap 125 now being shown complete. 74 to go here as the green flag waves at the North Carolina Motor Speedway. Tommy Houston leading the charge. Then in turn one, 44-year-old veteran driver from Hickory, North Carolina. Houston's last Busch Series win came last September in Martinsville, Virginia. Cars now, heavy traffic now coming down the back straightaway. A lot of speedy drive. That smoke you saw. Car number 99 now making a move.
And the car number 1 of Mark Martin has slowed dramatically going into turn 3. In fact, he might be coming into the pits. He won because, yes, there he is. The Carolina Ford dealers, car number 1 coming into the pits.
Unscheduled pit stop for Mark Martin. Let's go down to Benny Park.
Your other car comes in the pit. Mark stops the cruiser right on the right side. Another crew member goes across to clean the windshield. Some debris off. Bill, what happened? A flat tire?
Flat on the right front.
Man, it just gets worse. It's been a tough day. They're changing the right sides. Robert's going down the way he goes.
And he will lose the left. The leaders they come by. Tough break for Mark Martin. Having cut a right side tire down, the tire apparently leaking down during the yellow flag. He didn't realize it, went back to full speed and made the unscheduled stop. They are chasing Tommy Houston up front. Houston now showing the way.
Boy, he has pulled away too, Jerry. Really running strong in that Rosie's department store.
His son Scott has got that car dialed in. But a couple of cars now beginning to make the hunt. Earnhardt is there. You see Dale Earnhardt and Harry Gant, the car number 3 and 7 respectively, as they are back there trying to make their way to the front. But Houston has pulled away to a sizable advantage. There's Earnhardt now going around the outside. You see the advantage there between the leader, Houston, on the left side of your screen, and Earnhardt now in second spot, going around the car number 63 and Chuck Bound.
So Dale Earnhardt chasing his uncle by marriage.
That's right. Teresa Earnhardt, Dale's wife, is the daughter of Hal Houston, Tommy Houston's brother. Now, if you understand that, you must also be the one that does your own income tax. But Kyle Petty now. Let's take a look and see what Kyle's doing back in the field.
Kyle is pretty far back in the field, as a matter of fact, currently running 9th, the last car on the lead lap. He has been tied up in traffic back there, Jerry, and just that car is not working the traffic the way it was earlier in the race.
Well, I'm sure Kyle is trying to be extra careful, realizing that it's getting late in the day and he's getting some glare in the windshield.
Have trouble going into turn 1. There's a car that looks like losing an engine, a lot of smoke down there.
That is Randy LaJoy showing a lot of smoke, and the yellow flag is waving once again here for the 7th time today at North Carolina Motor Speedway. Randy LaJoy, a former Busch Grand National North Series champion, erupting an engine down toward turn 1. We will see the yellow flag fly once again. So Tommy Houston's 15-car length advantage has now gone up in smoke as a result of the caution flag once again.
Yeah, I'm sure you hate to see this one.
We are under caution once again at North Carolina Motor Speedway. The veteran Tommy Houston showing the way as the lap's winding down. Stay tuned. We'll be back after this.
completed 132 laps and get a total of 197 make up the Goodwrench 200. Up front behind the caution car again will be the Harry Gant car. It's refreshing to see some of the Busch National drivers up front. Tommy Ellison.
in the North Carolina Motor Speedway. We are showing once again some yellow fever here. That yellow flag has been waving throughout the afternoon, now for the 7th time. The blown engine of the car number 71, Randy LaJoy. As let's go down and check in with Benny Parsons on pit road. Benny?
Jerry, I talked to Jerry Kinnan. You were talking about why Kyle Petty was so far back in the field, and I came down and posed that question to him. Why are you so far back? Remember, Mark Martin had a flat tire. He was in heavy traffic. Kyle Petty was right behind him. He had to wait for Mark Martin to slow down, go through the corner, and come in the pits before he could accelerate. All the cars passed him on the outside. That's why he's back there and lost all that track position.
Well, during this caution flag, Ned, in fact, 4 of the top 9 have made pit stops.
Yeah, Tommy Houston, who was leading the race, came in. Dale Earnhardt, who was running second, came in for a change of tires, and so did Kenny Schrader and Ernie Irvin. So there are 9 cars in the lead lap, and those 4 making pit stops. We're about ready to go back to green, as now Harry Gant is the leader. Tommy Ellis running second. And third is Kenny Wallace, Dale Jarrett running in the 4th position, and Kyle Petty running 5th. And then those 4 cars that made those pit stops would be running 6th through 9th.
Good run for Kenny Wallace, a young driver from Missouri, trying to get his good speedway finish, a good speedway finish for that team. Now, he destroyed his super speedway car. Remember, we saw that horrible crash at Daytona on lap 14. So this is a borrowed car from brother Rusty Wallace. This is Rusty Wallace's Busch Series car from a year ago. And the car number 99. Let's take a look at Tommy Ellis. He started in 18th spot, moved his way up to the field at 12th, 8th, and lap 135 is being shown in the 2nd position. A great run for Tommy Ellis. That's the same car he finished 3rd in here a year ago.
And the best, talking about Kenny Wallace, the best finishing position that he has had since he's been in Busch Grand National competition is 3rd twice, and he's currently running in that position.
Getting set to go back to green here. 135 laps are completed. Bobby Scruggs waves the green flag as Harry Gant will lead the charge. Kenny Schrader now will dive down pit road. Unscheduled stop for him. He was in the lead lap. He will make a left side tire change there, and Gant leads him off in turn 2.
There's Schrader getting the left side tire, certainly an unscheduled pit stop. In fact, Jerry, I think they took on left side tires when he stopped under the caution, so apparently he ran over something and cut a tire.
Jimmy Coa, the crew for Kenny Schrader, getting the tire change. He's trying to get back out and not lose a lap. But here is Gant headed back to turn 1, and Harry Gant will go by the car of Kenny Schrader.
So now that will leave only 8 cars on the lead lap.
Harry Gant is pulling away from Tommy Ellis. Some 12 car lengths separating those 2 cars. Gant in turn 3, Ellis 2nd place car. Battling back in the pack, Dale Jarrett now trying to get around the Kenny Wallace car for 3rd spot. There's Kenny Wallace and Dale Jarrett. Wallace car number 36, and Dale Jarrett, the blue-white Brunch car number 32. But Harry Gant now trying to pull away in the late laps here at North Carolina Motor Speedway.
There you see Kenny Wallace and Dale Jarrett trying to move around Tom Peck, but here comes Dale Earnhardt moving on the inside of Kyle Petty. Now remember, Earnhardt made a pit stop, put on some fresh tires, and that apparently is helping him as he and Kyle Petty rub a little bit. Boy, how close are they together.
That is a battle for the 5th spot as you're looking out of the rear of the Ames Department Store Pontiac. Earnhardt not willing to give the spot away. And there's heavy traffic there. There's Tom Peck, the blue cars. Earnhardt and Kyle Petty now move beneath them. Earnhardt, some 3 car lengths just back of Dale Jarrett. And then you see separation between Earnhardt and Kyle Petty.
Here's Jarrett now trying to make a move on Kenny Wallace, trying to take over the number 3 position as you move into turn 1.
Dale Jarrett takes the spot away from Kenny Wallace, and Earnhardt's car slips very, very high out of turn 2. That's the opening that Kyle Petty wanted. He's going to take advantage of it coming down the backstretch. Earnhardt's awfully strong, and that Fisher Engineering V6 in his car. Earnhardt holds the spot. Jarrett currently in 3rd spot. Kenny Wallace is 4th. Earnhardt is 5th, and now making a move for 4th spot.
It's Dale Earnhardt, and Dale Jarrett moves around Tommy Ellis, takes over the number 2 position.
Tommy Ellis' car just not handling like he would like it to here in the late laps. The car ran well for a while, but now the handle apparently having gone away. Here's some of the drivers out of the race. Jeff Spraker, Patty Moise, and Randy Baker, as Dale Earnhardt now moves beneath the Tommy Ellis car, and he will carry Kyle Petty with him.
Remember, Tommy Ellis did not make a pit stop on this last caution. Neither did Kenny Wallace. And apparently, in fact, they haven't stopped the last 2 cautions, Jerry, and that's apparently hurting them right now.
Earnhardt's car just not getting off that second turn, and the car drifting very, very high through turn 2.
Yeah, it is pushing high there. No question about it. Here comes Kyle Petty down on the inside. He took advantage of that move by Earnhardt going a little bit high. Now trying to take over the third position. Petty in the Pontiac. Earnhardt in the Chevrolet, but Earnhardt will race him hard down into turn 1. And Earnhardt has been running that high groove, fairly successful, but this time it might cost him going up a little high. Kyle gets another half a car length on him, but Earnhardt comes back on the outside. Boy, some real racing for the fans here by Dale Earnhardt and Kyle Petty. So Kyle just simply was not able to make the pass, even though Earnhardt was running the high groove. He'll try one more time. No, can't quite do it this time. While they were doing that, Dale Jarrett was able to move away just a little bit from them. Jarrett running into second position, trying to chase down Harry Gant, who's out about 2.5 seconds in front of Jarrett.
Great racing here at North Carolina Motor Speedway. Dale Earnhardt and Kyle Petty mixing it up. Just to preview what you'll see tomorrow here live on ESPN is now Schrader's car slowing abruptly in the backstretch. Kenny Schrader's car now rolling into turn 3. Tough break for Kenny Schrader here. There is the Kenny Wallace machine. There's Dale Jarrett running in second spot. He is pulled away somewhat from Dale Earnhardt in third and Kyle Petty in fourth.
8 cars in the lead lap. Of course, the leader is Harry Gant. Second, Dale Jarrett. Third, Dale Earnhardt. Fourth, Kyle Petty. Fifth is Kenny Wallace. In the 6th position would be the car number 99, number 6 of Tommy Houston. And then 7th is the number 99 of Tommy Ellis. And the last car in the lead lap is Ernie Harriman in car number 58.
Back there as Kyle Petty is hit by number right and watch the rear deck of Dale Earnhardt. Those there are plenty of laps left here at North Carolina Motor Speedway.
Well, Dale Jarrett is reeling in Harry Gant. Jerry, a moment ago, he was about 2 2/10 seconds as we watched this third place battle, but Jarrett has cut it down to about 1 8/10 seconds now. But boy, what a battle for third.
And Kyle makes the move inside in turn 3.
And there's some trouble over there. The car number 8 of Bobby Hamilton apparently blew an engine going into turn 3, and the caution is out.
Caution on the speedway as Dale Earnhardt saw the smoke from the Bobby Hamilton car. He had backed off, and Kyle Petty was trying to make a move, and now he is backed off as we are seeing caution here for the 8th time today at North Carolina Motor Speedway.
Well, we went 57 laps without a caution, and then we've gone about, 60 or 70 laps since then, and we've had 8 of them.
Let's show the top 5 here, the leaderboard. Harry Gant is the leader, Dale Jarrett, Dale Earnhardt, Kyle Petty, and Tommy Houston, the top 5, after 148 laps of the 197, which will complete the Goodwrench 200. Well, we talk about March Madness, racing here and always exciting in March as an NCAA college basketball. Now let's go check in down in Columbia, South Carolina for Metro Conference basketball. Florida State Seminoles versus the Gamecocks of South Carolina. Speedway. We were just a lap away from resuming green flag action here in the Goodwrench 200. Let's go down and check in with Benny Parsons in the garage area.
Jerry, I'm a Ken Schrader, driver of the Kodiak Chevrolet. What put you out, Ken?
Well, something in the motor laid down on us. It was running okay, and we were like 6th to 8th all day, and we had a flatter in the last restart and lost a lap, and then the motor gave up.
Some guy just asked you, were you riding around easy? What was your answer?
Well, we were on 6th to 8th. If we'd been riding easy 6th to 8th, I'd have worked a little harder and been leading the thing. But, you know, you just Busch racing or Winston Cup race, you run as hard as you can all day.
And where have you finished? That's where you're going to finish.
That's where you wind up.
Thanks, Ken.
Okay, thanks, Ken.
Kenny Schrader exits here, and he's had a tough weekend thus far here at North Carolina Motor Speedway. Lost their primary car yesterday in an accident late in the afternoon. They had to go to a backup car. They lost their other car a couple of weeks ago in testing. As we go back to the green flag, and Earnhardt now goes to the bottom of the racetrack and will try to make his move toward the front. Great jump for Dale Earnhardt here as we go back to green at North Carolina Motor Speedway. Tommy Houston being shown as the leader.
He's the only one of the 8 cars that are in the lead lap that did not make a pit stop, Jerry. The other 7 drivers did make a pit stop during this last caution.
Got to give a call to Ernie Irvin, that white car number 58 you see back in 3rd spot. Irvin, the 31-year-old driver, that's the car that he ran at Daytona. Had to start the qualifying race dead last in order to get into the Goodwrench 300 and ended up finishing 7th overall in the 300-miler. So a great run down at Daytona, and again today for Ernie Irvin, the Modesto, California driver. Earnhardt now closing in on Tommy Houston. He sees Houston's Buick now flipping up a little bit. He puts the Lumina, the Chevrolet, down at the bottom of the racetrack. And it looks like they'll press the pedal down and take the lead to head for turn 1.
This is the first time that Dale Earnhardt has led this race today. It's hard to believe, as hard as he has run, that this is the first time that he has been in the lead.
Taking a look back there is Kyle Petty. You're seeing Kyle now back in heavy traffic in front of him. That is the Harry Gant car. Kenny Wallace, the car number 36, is there just to the outside of Kyle Petty. Those cars trying to make their way up through traffic.
There's Dale Jarrett moving around Tommy Ellis. That will be for the 4th position. Jarrett made a pit stop and came out running 6th. Now has moved up to 4th.
They move around the lap car of Michael Walker, but now Harry Gant will try to make a move inside of Tommy Ellis to take away the 5th spot.
And here comes Kyle Petty trying to take away the 6th spot as Tommy Ellis is shuffled back.
So again, Harry Gant and Kyle Petty are going to make their way to the front. Single file now down in turn 1 and 2. The man they are chasing is Dale Earnhardt. You see the view from inside the Kyle Petty car. He's trying to make a move inside of Harry Gant. He has shown a lot of strength in his Buick now out of turn 2. Gant's car now hovering on the bottom of the racetrack, right in front of Harry Gant. At car number 75, the black car. That's being passed now by Dale Jarrett.
And Tommy Houston coming into the pits, an unscheduled pit stop for the man who was leading this race not long ago, and he slides into the pits. Scott Houston and the rest of the group go to work on the Rosie's Buick, changing right side tires. Tough break for Tommy Houston.
They are making a Brad Teague sandwich in the backstretch. Brad Teague, the driver of the car number 75, and Gant to the outside, Kyle Petty to the inside. Here is Tommy Houston now exiting the pits.
And he's staying the lead lap.
He is going to try. Here is Earnhardt. Now Houston's back up on the racetrack now in between turn 1 and 2. Remember, he's already gotten a lap back once today, staying in front of some of the lead cars. He did not lose a lap by making an unscheduled stop. We talked about how important it was not to be able to cut a tire down as Rick Masters had done last year. And whoa, Tommy Houston's car slipping and sliding in turn 4. He just did get the car rolled back in, and now he will get black flag. And the reason they are black flagging Tommy Houston is that you are required to keep the car inside that white line exiting the turn, so you get all the way around the turn 2. And Houston's car can ride back up on the racetrack, and they will black flag him for a stop-and-go penalty. A tough break for the veteran Busch Series driver.
Well, they made a tremendous pit stop, Jerry. And of course, one thing that allowed him to be able to stay in the lead lap was by coming up on the banking before he got out of turn 2. And they weren't holding the driver's meeting to stay down below that line when they came out of the pit. So a very, very tough break for Tommy Houston, who was just anxious, so over anxious. He wasn't trying to break the rules. He was just anxious to get back out and get his speed up.
Well, if they're going to bring the car in, they're going to go ahead and change right side tires. They made the pit stop. They've made the commitment. You got to wonder, they're already going to lose a lap here, and they may end up going 2 laps down. They will go 2 laps down.
They sure will.
Now coming out of turn 4, and Houston's car still on the jacks.
Dale Jarrett has just taken over 2nd place now, moved around Ernie Irvin. And Kyle Petty
packed in tightly now to turn 2. That's Ernie Irvin in the car number 58. That's the white car with the red numbers on the side. And Kyle Petty back there in the Ames Pontiac. That is the 4th place car. Kyle Petty moving underneath Dave Resendez, car number 79. Kyle being very, very careful. His car will stick on the bottom of the racetrack. Not taking any chances. His car nearly gets up into Resendez.
From Harry Gant since he moved around him. Not too much, but he's got 2 cars between him, 2 lap cars. The car number 79, Dave Resendez, is 2 laps down. Bobby Labonte showing 1 lap down. He currently is running in the 9th position. So Bobby Labonte running good again here today in the top 10 at least.
And Dale Jarrett is beginning to reel in Dale Earnhardt. Earnhardt is being shown as the leader.
He is definitely gaining on her. There's no question about that. Jarrett and Kyle Petty seems to have had the fastest cars here all day, Jerry. Their pit stop sometimes hasn't been too good, and it's had them back in the field. But look how Jarrett drives into that turn 3, gains about 2 car lengths on Earnhardt. Just a moment ago, he was about 1 2/10 seconds behind, but now you can see how close he is on him.
Visibly, Jarrett's car handling much better than Earnhardt's Chevrolet in the corners. Dale Jarrett's Pontiac Grand Prix on the bottom of the racetrack. And just hugging the bottom groove. And here's a pass for the 5th spot. That is Tommy Ellis now going back around Harry Gant. And Harry's got to have a problem with handling on that car.
Yeah, that car is not working nearly as well as it was earlier. He led a good portion of this race. Tommy Ellis has moved back around him. Now Dale Jarrett trying to move on the inside off Dale Earnhardt for the lead.
Bid for the lead here is Jarrett now trying to move inside. These 2 guys are very good friends. In fact, a couple of years ago, as Jarrett tries to make the move on the bottom of the racetrack, when Dale Jarrett lost his only car on the short tracks, he borrowed a car from Dale Earnhardt to run some of the Busch Series events. Right now, there is no friendship whatsoever. They are purely competitors as they go at it here in turn 3.
Well, Earnhardt running the high groove, Jarrett staying down on the inside. And if you got a car that'll work down on the inside, the low side is the place to be. Jarrett almost got up into him. And while they're racing, Kyle Petty is coming up on him. So we're going to have a 3-way battle for the lead here momentarily.
Well, Kyle was sitting back and said, okay, guys, go ahead and dice it up for a while. I'm going to catch you in about a lap and a half or so. And now, indeed, he has reeled in the top 2 cars. So it's a Chevrolet and Earnhardt on the outside. Dale Jarrett trying to get underneath him. And now you see what Kyle Petty is watching. The punch car and the Goodwrench machine for Jarrett and Earnhardt. As now Kyle, you hear him getting hard in the throttle, trying to move on the inside of Earnhardt. But right in front of him, he can't go very far because Dale Jarrett's right there in the position.
Boy, it just doesn't get any better than this. Super racing here at the North Carolina Motor Speedway. Earnhardt just hung in tough out there on that outside. You see him touch a little bit as he go down the backstretch.
Now you know there's a record crowd here to watch this Goodwrench 200. They've known what happens here every spring here for this Busch Grand National Series racing. And now Dale Jarrett will have to make a move because lap traffic getting up in front of them. They'll have to squeeze by the Randy McDonald car. And they are still door to door. Great racing here. 30 laps to go in the Goodwrench 200. And Earnhardt's car skittering way up across the racetrack.
Yeah, he went too high that time, Jarrett. It cost him, and Jarrett was able to move around and take the lead.
There will be no more mandatory pit stops, of course. Fuel is not a factor, neither should be the tires. It is simply man and machine now as we wind down here in the lap of the Goodwrench 200. Dale Jarrett, who came so close to passing Dale Earnhardt with 3 laps to go in Daytona prior to running out of fuel, would like to dearly love to get that car in victory lane here and pick up his first Busch Series win.
Well, he hasn't won in this series since 1988 when he took the Winn-Dixie 300 at Charlotte, North Carolina.
With young Dale Jarrett showing the way here as the laps are winding down at North Carolina Motor Speedway. Dale Earnhardt rides second, and Kyle Petty is challenging. They're showing 159 laps complete. Of the 197, make it 169 complete of the 197, which comprise the Goodwrench 200. Kyle Petty now trying to make a move, and Earnhardt's car still sliding up very, very high, but Kyle's starting to have a little bit of trouble of his own. Now, while these 2 cars are dicing it up, you see Dale Jarrett pulling away. There's Earnhardt's car way up toward the wall. And Kyle Petty now coming out of turn 4 will have the shot to move beneath him. But Earnhardt really showing a lot of muscle on the straightaway. Now Kyle has the advantage inside of turn 1. Earnhardt's car should skitter up way across the track once again. And that opens the door for Kyle Petty to take second spot. Laps are winding down here at North Carolina Motor Speedway in the Goodwrench 200. Dale Jarrett is showing the way, followed by Kyle Petty and Dale Earnhardt. It should be a shootout. Stay tuned. We'll be back after this. Carolina Motor Speedway. One car is spinning now out of two. That is the Ernie Irvin car. Ernie was showing back in the fourth spot. Had just been passed by Harry Gant to the fifth spot as we bring out the caution for the 9th time today. Let's see what happened to Ernie Irvin in his Pontiac now up in turn 2.
Well, Mark Martin was running down on the inside of him. Harry Gant up in front, car number 7, and Ernie's car just gets loose on him. He tries to gather it back in, Jerry. He brings it down on the inside of the track. The left wheels hit the flat part of the track down on the inside, and it just spins around.
Speculation, Ned, that probably he had just been passed by Harry Gant. He was running forward and had been pushed back to the fifth spot, that he may have had a tire going down. We are showing caution here. Lap 175. 197 laps will comprise the Goodwrench 200. And we are just 22 laps away from the conclusion here at North Carolina Motor Speedway. There's Dale Jarrett showing the way in the Nestle's Crunch Pontiac. Veteran crew chief John Irvin showing the way here for him. And now peeling down pit road will be Dale Earnhardt.
Well, of course, he had already been passed by Kyle Petty and Dale Jarrett, so he decided not to make a pit stop.
Harry Gant's been struggling. Let's check on his pit stop with Benny Parsons.
Well, they're going to change the left sides. They've got the jack under. They're taking the lug nuts off. Car's up. They're cleaning the grill. They've been talking to one of the Ruggles engine people here, trying to figure out exactly what's wrong with the car. They did not do anything except change tires. Harry Gant's away. Great pit stop.
Harry Gant moving back on the track down in turn 1, as is Dale Earnhardt. Now, they'll have fresh rubber and a limited number of cars in the lead lap, only 7 cars, Ned. Now, with those cars pitting, what will that do to Dale Jarrett and some of the cars that didn't pit?
I'll tell you, it'd be interesting to see, because those fresh tires, as we've heard earlier, makes a great deal of difference here. And I don't know if they, of course, Jarrett's car seems to be sticking, his and Kyle Petty seems to be sticking well down on the inside of the racetrack. Earnhardt had no choice but to pit, he and Harry Gant, because they were slipping back a little bit. The front 2 cars had passed them and had driven away from them, so they had no choice but to come in and make a pit stop. So it'll be interesting to see just what does happen. 7 cars in the lead lap.
A pair of Pontiacs up front having showing the way. Let's check in and see what the adjustment was, what the problem may have been on Harry Gant's car. Let's go down to Benny Parsons.
Jerry Punch, as I mentioned, all they did was change tires. I'm with Chris Carrier. What seems to be the problem with Harry Gant's car?
Well, we don't know for sure, Benny. We got either an ignition problem or a carburation problem or something. It'll miss and flutter for 1 lap and then run all right for another lap. And, you know, we're trying to figure it out. It could be something stopped up in the jet. It could be ignition switch going bad or something like that. I don't know. Hopefully, maybe it'll be good for about 30 more laps.
I mean, they're really true. When you start chasing the thing, there's nothing you can do except change a bunch of stuff, right?
No, you know, you just don't have time here in the pits. You have to take a breather and the carburetor off of it and blow all the jets out. You're talking about 2 hours work, really. We just don't have enough time right here. It's really a shame. We just about had got the car where we wanted it. We changed the tire stagger around a little bit and done some stuff with air pressure, and looked like it's going to be a good day for the Skull Bandit Starving Marvin, but maybe next time. We hang in there. We might be all right yet.
If it'll run good for 30 laps, you'll be okay.
Yeah, we'll put on a show.
Well, he's only got 20 laps to go, so he don't need 30 laps.
Green flag flies here at North Carolina Motor Speedway. The leading lap of the Goodwrench 200. And Dale Jarrett now shuffles them off at turn 1. And Harry Gant now trying to fall in behind the Dale Earnhardt car. But it's been a Pontiac parade up front. Dale Jarrett and Kyle Petty, 2 of the strongest cars all afternoon. Neither of those cars haven't made a pit stop. And we'll see if the fresh rubber from Earnhardt, as now Earnhardt makes a move inside turn 3, as he is trying to reel in the lead car.
Yeah, Kyle Petty was coming up on Dale Jarrett before this caution came out, so those 2 cars have shown a lot of strength. Of course, Jarrett leading, Kyle Petty 2nd, Harry Gant 3rd, 4th is Earnhardt, 5th is Kenny Wallace, and 6th place is Ernie Irvin. He did not lose a lap. Tommy Ellis in 7th place. Those 7 cars in the lead lap.
No doubt that Kyle Petty has one of the strongest cars in the field, but Earnhardt's car on the very bottom of the racetrack. As you see Earnhardt now coming out of turn 4, you got a glimpse of Kyle Petty's view as he's trying to reel in the Dale Jarrett machine. If Earnhardt getting that car dialed in exactly what you want to do. What you don't want to have happen is allow Earnhardt to make a late pit stop and get the car adjusted for that final bonsai run with the checkered flag, which is what exactly happened for the Tony Eury crew in the car number 3. Again, languishing back in the field. His car seems to be running a little bit better, moving inside of a car. There out of turn 3. There is Harry Gant, the car number 7. The Skull Bandit Buick. 2-time winner here at North Carolina Motor Speedway. Behind him is the Kenny Wallace car.
Wallace running in the 5th place. Gant running 4th now. And Tommy Ellis running 6th.
Again, getting around the Dana Patton machine. Dana Patton, one of the rookie contenders this year in the Busch Series.
Earnhardt has moved right up on Kyle Petty as we see this battle back here as Kenny Wallace moves on the inside of Dale Petty.
Back up front, Dale Jarrett showing the way, but the battle really heating up for second spot. Now as Dale Earnhardt's car beginning to drift a little bit. Remember those tires, the new tires are only good for about a handful of 6 or 7 laps. Then they begin to go away, so Earnhardt having to take advantage of the tires while he has them.
And boy, Kyle gave him a lot of running room there. Just moved, stayed down on the inside and let Earnhardt have that outside groove. Kyle could have slid up in front of him coming off of turn 2, but he didn't do it. And that gave Earnhardt the room that he needed to take over the second place.
15 laps to go here at North Carolina Motor Speedway. Dale Jarrett trying, struggling to hang on the lead here in his Pontiac. Earnhardt's car wagging the tail a little bit coming out of turn 2. That car number 3, the Goodwrench Chevrolet, holding a 2-car advantage over Kyle Petty.
Now, Earnhardt has driven that car awfully hard, Jerry. Don't take too long to get those tires heated up once you come back out there, and certainly he has driven it to the maximum since he came back out. It'll be interesting to see how long it does take to get them heated up to where he doesn't have the advantage of the new tires.
North Carolina Motor Speedway has been a very good racetrack for Dale Jarrett. He has finished here 3rd, 4th, 5th a couple of times. He has had a number of finishes in the top 10. He is a young man who drives the track very, very well. And there you see the viewpoint from Kyle Petty. Kyle, you hear him back in the throttle now coming out of turn. He's having to feather the throttle a little bit. The car not handling like he would like it.
No, it's not. It's not staying down there like it did earlier. Dale Jarrett needs a win, Jerry. He doesn't have a Winston Cup ride right now. He just sort of got lost in the shuffle during the winter, and his spirits have been down a little bit, even though this Busch car has run good in all 3 races that he has run it in. But he needs a win. I think that would be a big boost for him and the team. He has some things working in Winston Cup, but nothing definite.
Well, they have talked to him about a couple of Winston Cup rides, but what about his Busch status? He's currently 3rd in the points. If he were to win here, he could probably move up a little bit in the point standings. Would he run the full tour?
Well, there's a very good possibility that he will. The NASCAR people have told him that they would fund the effort if he decided to run the full tour and try to win the championship. And it looks like he is going to move into 2nd in the point standings today if he can stay where he is up there right now. And certainly Earnhardt is not going to run all the races. Earnhardt should maintain the point lead today, but he probably won't run at Martinsville where these cars go next weekend. So that would give Jarrett a good shot then to maybe move on into the lead in the point standings.
It'll be 10 laps to go. Next time by is Dale Earnhardt's car going very high in turn 1. Earnhardt nearly tagging the wall. The car just getting away a little bit. And that gave a probably good advantage to Dale Jarrett. Jarrett now about an 8-car length separation between himself and the challenging Chevrolet of Dale Earnhardt.
Earnhardt has been getting very good momentum when he goes high and comes off of the turn. It really shoots him down the straightaway, so it might be that he's just driving that car that way. Yeah, he's driving that car up there, Jerry. It's not sliding up there. He gets good momentum. Keeps the RPMs of the engine up, so he's getting good momentum off the turn. In fact, he's gaining a little bit right now, Jarrett, with that move. He's found himself something there that's working a little bit better for him.
Margin shrinking a little bit between the lead cars. 7-car length separation between Dale Jarrett and Dale Earnhardt. Remaining here at North Carolina Motor Speedway. The battle up front now is Dale Earnhardt slides very, very high. He is chasing the leader, Dale Jarrett. Jarrett in the Nestle's Crunch Pontiac. At the North Carolina Motor Speedway, 7 laps to the conclusion of the Goodwrench 200, and Dale Jarrett trying to hang on to the lead here. The Nestle's Crunch Pontiac, 2-car length separation between the car number 32. That's your leader, Dale Jarrett, and the closing rapidly Chevrolet Lumina up Dale Earnhardt. Meanwhile, back from 5 or 6 car lengths is the car number 42 of Kyle Petty. Here's the 5th, 6th, and 7th place cars. Of course, the car number 36, that is the 4th place car, rather, of Kenny Wallace. Then Harry Gant is in 5th, and Mark Martin challenging back there also for position.
Mark Martin is a lap down. He made an unscheduled pit stop earlier for a flat tire. Earnhardt taking the high groove out of turn 2. Jarrett staying down on the low side of the racetrack.
It'll be 5 laps to go this time by. 3 car lengths separating the front 2 cars. Earnhardt has been using the outside groove. We widen out. You see Kyle Petty to the far right of your screen, the red car with the white numbers. Earnhardt now down on the bottom of the racetrack trying to make a move, and Jarrett will hold him off. It will be 5 to go now, this time by. Dale Jarrett, who came so close at Daytona, and Earnhardt driving way up on the outside of the racetrack, trying to keep that momentum up in the top groove.
Yeah, it didn't work for him that time. Jarrett's car is working better on the turn 2 than Earnhardt's is, but right here is where Earnhardt is beating him. See how much he closes in on him as he come off the turn 4. Jarrett's car seems to be pushing up the track a little bit as he comes off of there. Earnhardt picks up on him, but was not able to move up the side.
4 laps to go now, just about 15 laps to go. Earnhardt made a pit stop under the caution flag and changed tires. Dale Jarrett did not. He elected to stay out. The fresh rubber may be showing its way here right now in the waning laps. Earnhardt has fresh rubber, and Dale Jarrett does not. Kyle Petty from 7 or 8, maybe making 10 car lengths back in 3rd spot. Looking through the Ames Department Store race cam, through the windshield of Kyle Petty, as he is watching Earnhardt and Jarrett battle out of turn 4.
Just 3 more laps to go, and Jarrett can hang on. He wants to get around this car and get down on the inside, but he didn't. He's heading too close going into the turn, and Jarrett spins around. He wanted to get to the inside of the racetrack going into the turn, and he cut too close on the car number 41, and it spins him around.
Dale Jarrett and Jamie Aubie coming together in turn 1. This is the back straightaway. They're showing a car that is looped down in the backstretch.
Oh, boy.
A tough break for Dale Jarrett. A couple laps to go, and he was trying everything he could to keep his car on the bottom of the racetrack and make that advantage work. And he and Jamie Aubie coming together, Dale cutting the car down, and Aubie's car coming into contact. He spins the car. Let's take a look and show you what happened. Dale Jarrett showing the way. That's Jamie Aubie's car on the left of your screen. Jarrett cuts to the bottom of the groove. Jamie Aubie is there. The left rear quarter panel of Jarrett's car begins to spin, and he is spun around, and Earnhardt will take the lead. Let's show it from a different angle coming into turn 1.
He just simply cut down too close, too quick on him. He wanted to get to that inside groove because that's where he's been beating Earnhardt, and he thought maybe Aubie might back off a little bit, but Aubie was as low on the racetrack as he could get, and Jarrett just clipped him and sent him spinning around.
Let's take a look inside Kyle Petty's car from the in-car camera. We'll see what Kyle saw. Can you believe the misfortune that Dale Jarrett has after Daytona when Dale Jarrett came up just 3 laps short of possibly getting a win there? As a white flag is being waved now to Dale Earnhardt. We are under caution here at North Carolina Motor Speedway. The caution now being shown for the 10th time today. Dale Jarrett trying to hold off Dale Earnhardt. At Daytona, it was Dale Jarrett making a move on Earnhardt with 3 laps to go, and he ran out of fuel. What a tough break for the young driver who is trying to get this Busch Series competition a run for the money, maybe get a shot to come back in Winston Cup racing for 1991, and came up just a lap or so short here at North Carolina Motor Speedway. White flag has flown as the Pontiac safety car hits the field, and you are looking at a celebration beginning now on pit road as they are watching and waiting for the winner of the Goodwrench 200 to come by, which will be, of course, Dale Earnhardt.
Of course, all he has to do is just follow the pace car around, and the checker flag will be his as he comes off of turn 4. Earnhardt right there to take advantage of the situation as far as Jarrett cutting the car number 41 a little close going into the turn, and Dale Earnhardt will win his 2nd Busch Grand National race of the season.
Dale Earnhardt wins the Goodwrench 200 here at the North Carolina Motor Speedway. There's Dale waving to the crowd. An outstanding job of driving by Dale Earnhardt. Let's take a look at the top 5 here in the final rundown at North Carolina Motor Speedway. Rick Voss, Tony Eury, the crew celebrating. Dale Earnhardt takes the win. Kyle Petty will come home in 2nd spot. Kenny Wallace, Harry Gant, and Ernie Irvin round out the top 5. So Dale Earnhardt has won the Goodwrench 200 from North Carolina Motor Speedway. Let's go back up to the Sports Center and Chris Feller for more action here in the afternoon. Chris?
Simply made a mistake. That's all there was to it.
say perhaps he was slipping behind. Either way, the bottom line was the race.
Here, let me get you. I'm Hooky Thomas. You got it. Down. Nice one. Down. Here you go. Here's the hat. I got him. You got your black one? Okay. Here you go.
I'll hold that point. I'll take it. Right out. Get out.
Ready, baby? All right, watch the water. Watch the water. There you go. Benny?
A little bit.
They're not ready. It's getting ready. Can we take it?
Marching along.
Oh, yeah.
Nice work. I need a little adjustment.
Okay. How long? 8 seconds.
Thank you very much, Jerry Punch. Dale Earnhardt, you told me before the race you were going in the front, and you told me the truth, didn't you?
Well, we was working hard trying to get around Jarrett. You know, we'd stopped and got right side tires, and he didn't, and I felt like that was the key to winning the race. And we worked him, but, you know, I had a couple laps left, and I was going to do my best to get him on the high side in 1 and 2. And he went in there and clipped that slow car. I couldn't believe it, and I just drove up around him, and then we had to do 2 laps to go on caution, so we just drove around for the win.
But did Clifford Allison spin in front of you going down the back straightaway right after that?
I come off the corner, and he was a weaving back, boys, and I was, what in the heck going on? And then he spun around. I couldn't believe it. I said, what happened to him? You know, he's just riding along, spun out.
But, you know, what were you running high for there near the end of the race? Trying to save the tires and make sure they didn't go away?
Well, I'd run low and seemed to just hold my own and gain a little. And Dale was always running low down there, and I figured, well, let me see if I can find me a high groove. I was searching for a way to get around him, and if we could just gotten hooked up there, I believe I could have got on the outside and got even with him. I'd have beat him.
Well, Jerry Punch, here's a guy that said his back hurt a little bit before the race. It doesn't hurt anymore.
Yeah, that's a good adjustment for it right there, I guarantee you.
Great, thanks, Benny.
Okay, go ahead.